Ladies and gentlemen, we're up to a bit of tomfoolery tonight between notAhero and myself, so don't expect the most regular of broadcasts, but 100% we're having a fantastic time. We're having a fun time. I'm sure you're about to have a fun time as well, because of course, it is the top 6 here at EGL One, DUC versus Frostbyte. My name is HellBird. I'll be your caster this evening, and I'm joined by notAhero. notAhero, welcome to the broadcast.
Oh, EGL action! Top 6, and this is the money game. The money one.
Yeah, so an interesting thing about this particular matchup, if you do win it, you're guaranteed a share of the prize pool. So we are, as you would say, almost into the money. I mean, it gets you into the money, really, because the winner is guaranteed. It's obviously guaranteed top 4, and therefore...
Sure, you have to win, though.
Yeah, that's one thing. Hence the winner. Not... Anyways.
Still have to win.
Yes, yes. But the point is, we're in the money. This is the money match. And that's the... I think that's the cherry on the top, probably, for tonight, because obviously it's a great game of Dota we're going to see now. I'm going to set the stage for you a little bit, because this is not the first time we've seen these two teams play each other. Of course, they actually played in the very first round of the upper bracket, and that was a decided DUC victory. They won 2-0 on the trot. But I will say this much. I took a quick peek at the information. Big shout out to George. I want to say Winrock Corny, that guy. Anyways, he actually provided us with some of the details of this previous matchup. And the thing I found quite interesting is that they were long games. They were an hour and 40 minutes respectively. So although it was a 2-0, it probably was a much harder 2-0 than first meets the eye. And of course, I think Frostbyte's a better team than they were last time.
I agree, but a long game against DUC is very misleading. Even back in the day, playing against DUC, as a player, we always used to say, okay, well, prepare ourselves for an hour or an hour and a half long game, because they know how to delay the game to try and keep themselves in it, and they're also not a team that like willy-nilly goes high ground. They try and compose and make sure the game is in the hand before they throw it. So it is a team that tends to stretch the game for longer periods. They do like their alchemists and those types of picks. So once those heroes are strong, that's when the tempo starts happening on the map. But before then, it's kind of it's a slow pace for them, but it's controlled. It's a controlled pace. But from Frostbyte, what we saw from them the other night was a very team fight orientated draft. They ran at Haze quite frequently, and even though that series went 2-1, I do think they were the convincing winners of that series. Like they outplayed their opponents quite well.
I tend to agree. I think that the overall performance was a lot better. It felt to me, though, ironically, it's interesting that you mentioned that DUC take the time finishing off matches. That's probably where Frostbyte struggled most, was finishing the games that they were ahead. They got to a point where they looked really good. And I think maybe that'll be the telling thing for me is how well does DUC respond to that sort of 10-15 minute mark where Frostbyte really feel like they play their best Dota. In the weirdest way, I feel like they're trying to get ahead in that 5-minute window in such an extreme manner, and that beyond that point, the game actually becomes a little easier against them, because you've had to deal with the worst that they have to throw at you. I don't know if you agree, or maybe that's a little unkind.
No, I do agree. But DUC is also they're in a weird place at the moment where they put a lot of baskets in the Crimson Tide basket, or like a lot of eggs in the Crimson Tide basket, because they really play around him a lot. He's a player with a lot of experience. He's been in multiple teams. He used to be in Ventus. He was part of my team Salt, and now he's been playing for DUC for the last 2 years. And they put a lot of faith in him and trust in him, and always try and give him a win condition hero. And we saw him in the Energy series, or no, Sun 5 series, where he played Broodmother, but the movements by the team around the map was just not consistent with how you want to play with the Brood. And I don't know if they've practiced that afterwards, because if they have, that Brood pick is going to be scary. And then any game that they 1-0 behind, the next game they pick Alchemist for Crimson Tide specifically, because they want him to snowball, and that's a win condition. So I think if Frostbyte can maybe throw Crimson off a bit and put some pressure on him, then they're going to be in this game with a big shot.
Okay, well, I mean, I guess we're going to go live in about a minute, but a good opportunity for those of you just joining. We'll remind you that here at EGL we do some free things. It's going to be great. So it'll be coming on along a little while later. So don't do anything just yet. But I also want to take a moment to say thank you to the sponsors, HV and Omen. And of course, Esports themselves for making this event happen. It's been the only thing that makes me sad about this event is that it's coming to an end. We're in the tail end of it. So there's only 6 teams left. But
6 teams left. Like, you know.
It's scary when you think where we started as well for a second. I mean, we had so many teams at one point. I think there were 64 teams or 65 teams that originally registered, of which 45 of those sides competed in the qualifiers. And here we are now with just 6 left, which is an outstanding showing from the South African community. And of course, in many ways, we've seen just people doubling on it. The fact that we saw passion in the community, that was really great as well. So sad to see the tail end happen in its own right, but of course that's also where the best things happen. I mean, we are, as I said, we're in the money stages. The winner of this will be rewarded with a guarantee of taking some money home with them, top 4 position.
But on top of that as well, like, that's keeping your dream alive, like carrying on, progressing in this tournament, because the winner of this matchup is going to face the winner between XD and Punks, which is happening on Thursday. So I do fancy Frostbyte and DUC both think that they can beat Punks and they can beat XD on a good night as well. So
yeah,
it's progression in the tournament.
And on top of that, I think there's the fact that we have the opportunity to see some just phenomenal potential matchups happening in the upper bracket as well. I mean, the fact that we have Energy of Sin 5 waiting up there is going to be great as well. So, all right, but we can't keep you waiting too much longer. We're into the draft, so we're going to get stuck in right now. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to EGL One, officially starting with our draft here. DUC taking on Frostbyte Esports. Game 1, notAhero. We see the Viper banned out, and the I almost want to say the Legend, because of course the DP banned out here, so the Legend hero banned out, and the Snap by Frostbyte. Followed by
if I'm not mistaken, in the previous series they left this Death Prophet in the first phase, and DUC ended up picking it, and it caused them a lot of problems in the first game. I think Legend just ran over the map completely with this Death Prophet. We did see what Sin 5 did against it. They kind of, the moment the Death Prophet hit 6, they just rotate their supports to the lane, because Legend likes to play aggressive, and he ended up dying twice in a row. So there are some teams figuring out this playstyle from DUC with this DP, but Frostbyte opting to not give him probably his best hero. And no Panini for the side of DUC, so E&D is playing for them at the moment, and that also changes how they line up a little bit. That means FSM is going back to the off lane, and then normally not Legend, sorry. That means FSM goes back to the offlane, and Legend and E&D are supports with Crimson and Muffin, the other 2 cores. So it has swapped their roster a little bit. We do see then the Snapfire secondary ban is also one of the most picked heroes for DUC. And then Frostbyte go with Axe Wyvern, and DUC went with AA Tidehunter. Am I not mistaken? If Frostbyte did run the carry Axe in the previous series against Haze, didn't they?
I feel like there was definitely an Axe. I can actually double check for you quickly. So Frostbyte in their last matchup against Haze. So obviously 3 of them. Just bring them up quickly. Take a peek.
So Frostbyte goes for that Alchemist ban as well. That's a back against the wall pick for DUC, for Crimson Tide. We spoke about that before the draft. If they really want to win a series, or if they're behind, it's that clutch back against the wall moment, then they definitely picking that Alchemist from. But they've gone with AA Tidehunter. AA very popular in the meta at the moment. Tide gives them overall team fight, and it's a solid hero as well. I just don't know how well Tide lanes against Axe. I kind of think it goes both ways until later levels. There is a Winter Wyvern with it. So a lot of meta picks coming out here. The AA very meta, the Winter Wyvern very meta, and then... But who had first pick here, HellBird? Do you know? I didn't pay attention. Because did they pick the Wyvern into the AA, or was the AA an insta response to the Winter Wyvern pick?
10 seconds.
Not sure.
I remember.
But yeah, so there is counters. Yeah, there is counters. So really good against this Winter Wyvern pick, because the Holy Locket on the hero is extremely broken. So there is some tools there to deal with it. They then went for the Ursa ban. I guess they just want this Tidehunter to be ran over by Ursa plus Winter Wyvern. And then Frostbyte goes for a Dry Ranger ban. Muffin likes his Dry Ranger a lot. I don't think the hero is that strong at the moment. and especially not like with a hero like Axe that can always like get on top of her and like fight her. He goes Manta now as well, so he doesn't really care about the silence.
Yeah.
And that Timbersaw ban is letting me believe that this is a safe lane Axe pick so far. They're trying to secure that lane for him.
So just to answer the question you asked about what it was, you are in fact correct with Shazo, who in the game that Frostbyte won as well, which I think is important, they ran the Axe, and man, he was actually rough. 19, 4, and 20 with a 34.9k net worth. That is pretty significant because you know, when you make comparisons across the map, Hayes were trying to fight back with only, you know, a 22, 21, 26. So he was big in that matchup. So, and if I recall, he had a very good timing on his Mantis Shard and Blink Dagger. It was round.
So this Axe hero is really strange at the moment. Because in the past, your Axe as an offlaner would be good, and he would be able to control the map for you about until like 25 minutes, and then he kind of falls off. It's like still Hunt, but he's not a massive teamfight hero. But this Axe carry build that's come out is the hero just feels like it doesn't stop scaling, because after like BKB and the Shard and the Manta, you get an AC, then your damage output is scaled up again, and then people are going overwhelming Blink, and then your damage is scaled up again, and then he still has another item slot, HellBird. Like these axes are not getting to like that 6th slot because they're kind of ending the game before it gets there.
Also, I think because they almost itemize in a space-efficient way. They have very, you know, when you think about Vanguards and that sort of stuff, that, well, I guess Vanguards aren't so much as popular these days, but the point is, you know, those kind of builds, when they go into that early Vanguard, etc., those things become a big item that is valuable to a late game Axe anyways. So I think I tend to agree with you, there's a lot going on there. But I'm very happy with what I see on the field now. The Invoker. This is going to be a very interesting matchup. This is going to be a lot of fight. I mean, this is a great Rubik game. There's just so much to steal from the Winter Wyvern, the Invoker, obviously. But with
I don't like Rubik at the moment. The hero just feels off. And DUC has picked this hero twice with another like range passively type of playing support, and teams have like ran at them. Like when they did, I think they did Rubik with Oracle, one of the previous series, and Sun 5 just ran at them because both supports had no kill threat. I guess AA Blast is a little bit scarier as well, but Tidehunter will only be able to fight when you have Ravage, and now your other two heroes on the map that's supposed to create tempo is Rubik and AA. I don't like the pick. It slows down their draft way too much. They needed something that can play with tempo and hunt and kill.
Well, the international scene would definitely agree with you, by the way. So Rubik's only picked all banned in about 13% of all competitive, or you know,
hero doesn't
tier
feel
1
good.
Dota games. And of those games, he is picked in. He only has a 42% win rate, so definitely not a powerhouse of hero. And I think 42 is scary low, actually. Like that's a. I actually wonder what the lowest win rate is.
13% of Dota for a hero that's recently won an Arcana vote, and the hero just doesn't feel good, and it just plays too slow. And you want to play it as a 4 because on 5 it just never gets anything. But now you've got AA with this Rubik, and I don't know. I don't like it.
But what's scary about that? Sorry, just to go even further, is that there's only one other hero in Dota that is picked in a similar amount of games, picked or banned, that has a similar kind of low win rate, and that's actually Undying of all heroes. But it is effectively between Undying and Rubik, they are the most, I guess, of the heroes that pick the most, they're the two with the lowest win rates at the moment.
But you said it's only picked 13% of the time.
Yeah, so I'm saying so
it's picked the least.
So of heroes,
most of the least.
But what I'm trying to suggest is, for example, there's a 31% win rate on Zeus. He's been picked 19 times, or picked and banned 19 times. So I don't want to consider that as a real number. Whilst Rubik is sitting at the 100 and I've lost my stat, but like you're saying near the 200 mark, and so is Undying, where they've been picked or banned in that kind of category. So 31 is just not a big enough, number of heroes.
That's interesting. It's a hero that can threaten towers with this Invoker Axe build. The good old alacrity on the green panda to siege buildings. It was nerfed. It is still strong, but when Wings was doing it back in the day, it was completely broken. So there is like a little bit of a sieging mechanic there from Frostbyte. It also might opt that Luna doesn't go Manta this game, just goes SNY. I still think you go Manta. It just accelerates your farming speed. Because the Brewmaster can just purge the illusions in a team fight, but that's not why she's going to go the item. And it's team fight with team fight. If you had to tell me that, hey,
Radiant team
the one team is a Tide Hunter and the other team is a Brewmaster, it kind of like provides both aspects. So there's massive team fight there. The plus side for Brewmaster is his Ags now gives him 2 charges, so he will be able to fight way more frequent than Tide Hunter does. And if you look at some of the Chinese teams and
10
T1
seconds
from the
remaining.
Southeast Asia district, they go Brewmaster offlane with a Midas, Ags
5
into Refresher
seconds
Orb,
remaining.
and then you've got 4 splits of the Primal Split. So your Brewmaster can basically permanently fight with Split on the map. There's never downtime, and I like it. It's gonna ensure that Frostbyte can play on the map more frequently than Duck can. Because Duck's draft is really slow at the moment, hey? They're gonna play for the late game. They have to play for late game, yeah.
I mean, it's interesting because I almost feel like Duck can play for mid game as well, because you can play
Radiant
behind the
team
Tide Hunter with the Luna, for example, and A obviously, like I think there's like a
Duck's draft is slow, super slow. If you don't have Ravage, what do you do on the map?
well, it's
what-
the threat of Ravage. Is that always be the
Yeah,
old
no, but
saying?
if
threat of Ravage.
he's used Ravage, what can any of the heroes do on the map? Any one of the other heroes that they have at the moment. You're gonna lift into Ice
5
Blast, I
seconds
guess.
remaining.
No, it's
What are you
very
gonna do
strange.
with Axe? I mean, Axe is there's
Once he when that 20-minute mark hits and Axe hits that go time, he's got Ember, Invoker, and Brew with him. So did they change this now? Is this a support Invoker or is this an offlane Axe and a support Brew?
because it kind of feels like your cores there would be the last 3 picked at this point, right? Like in regular Dota, that's So I think one of those has to. So between the Brew and the Invoker, one of them is going. Well, BNA is their mid, so that answers that. So support Invoker. Interesting. Okay. I'm not going crazy, right? BNA is the mid. Was it BNA the safe?
No, Odyssey is the offlaner, so it's definitely a support Invoker and BNA.
Because Shazo is their one position. Yeah, that's what it is.
Pos 1
Right.
Axe support Invoker. So, I guess he's gonna go earn and then just hunt around the map. But that does slow down their draft a little bit. So, but BNA can hunt regardless. Like the moment this Ember is online, he's gonna like stop putting pressure on this map. They went for the Shadow Fiend pick.
This is really interesting. This is one of those
the
matches.
The longest stun Doc has on their side is Ravage from Ultimate, and then Lucent Beam.
Lucent Beam.
Yeah.
And you got Cold Feet as well. I mean, if you can pick that one off, but that's a fair point. There isn't, and I guess for the Ember Spirit, that's great news because
He's
one of
gonna
those
have
super elusive heroes.
And also for Brewmaster, because you're never going to be locked down in a fight long enough to just get blown up. You'll always get your primal splits off. So very like the Frostbite. If they get decent lanes and have a good start, I think their draft is stronger, even with this pos 4 Invoker, which we haven't seen in a very long time. I do still think it can work. Yeah, I do still think it can work. And it also makes like the AA's life annoying because invisible Invoker running around like just cold snapping and earning the AA. So yeah, I think Frostbite has got the better draft here. I think Duck Legend drafted himself a bit into a hole here.
Well, okay, before we get into that, I do have a little bit of admin to do. So the first thing I want to say is I have to give a shout out to Mr. Flack joining us on the stream. Fantastic South African gaming celebrity, if you will. It's great to have you here, so thanks for joining us. And then, of course, I want to remind all of you who are watching in-game, it is... we'd love to have you join us on the YouTube stream as well. Come onto YouTube, give it a quick search. If you search for Evesports, you'll find the channel and find us live, and you can come say hello to us and our road to trying to become an internet celebrity. But more importantly, we're also giving away free stuff in this broadcast. So, of course, a great opportunity to both enjoy the Dota chat with us and obviously also get something free out of the equation. What's to lose? Once again, just head on to YouTube, search for Esports, you'll find us live streaming at the moment. And of course, if you're already here, it would be great if you would show some love to the channel as well. Hit that subscribe button, become part of the EGL Evesports community. We obviously do more than just Dota here as well. So if you're interested in like CSGO, etc., you'll find some events that will also be going on in the near future, I'm sure. But right, yeah, let's not hear a silence me. HellBird, enough of you. I want you to cast the smoke play, he says. As
Yeah, it's a
Frostbyte
little bit
will
of
get onto
wraparound.
the back line. FSM, though, caught out here, and they will get a nice bit of damage onto an early. BNA also trying to make his way around. The Fade bolts, and that's not going to be enough. And the first kill
Oh,
goes to
get it.
BNA. So a nice little
Big.
kill there to start things off. And Legend, he's going to run down towards the ruin. He wants to fight for this, but he may also pay for it with his life. If he's not too careful, they're going to start charging down him. A lot tankier than a Rubik. So I think Legend picking the longest possible way around is going to find himself running into Shazo, and he is snookered. They've turned a triangle on him, and Legend is likely to go down. And I hope that was a Quelling Blade, because if that was a Tango, it's not going to save you this time. That's just an economic loss. But the TPs will start coming out now as Frostbyte start this match off with a pretty much ideal start. I mean, they get 2 bounty runes, I think.
Just a little bit of slow reactions there by FSM, because he could have, like, he saw them coming, but he was trying to man up for the bounty. And there was a lot of damage coming out there. Cold Snap with Battle Hunger, that's pretty nasty. And then you had the Arctic Burn on top of it. So just a lot of slow, like they might not have stuns, but there's a lot of slow coming out from their side. Like Battle Hunger, Arctic Burn, Cold Snap, and BNA getting that kill on the Evesports is huge, because I think he's actually flying out a bottle already. Where's his courier? Is it because its courier says it's coming? Where is it? Am I missing it? Can you see it, Albert? Oh, bottle. No, it's all on the base. Yeah, so he's got a bottle flying out already, and that kind of means that he can pressure this lane hard. One thing that I do want to note is, like, Ember versus Shadow Fiend is kind of a fine matchup for the Ember Spirit if you level Flame Guard level 1. So in the what you do with Flame Guard level 1 is you go straight onto the range group and kill it as quick as possible, and then you push out the lane, so it starts doing the seesaw effect, and then it's really hard for Shadow Fiend with no souls to last it under tower. And he secured the first blood with Slider first, so he doesn't have that Flame Guard mechanic to bank up on. And as you can see, Crimson Tide's already level 2, where the Ember is still level 1.
Yeah, that is quite a big deal, actually.
Bottom. Odyssey's going to go down.
Coming onto Odyssey. He is very low. Does manage to get a little bit of distance behind him. And of course, the Cold Snap going to help out. Not even a random question, but what is the mechanic like with Cinder Brew and Cold Snap? Like, if you are...
So, in the past, there used to be a minimum damage of 60 damage from magic or to actually ignite, but I don't see it on the description anymore. So, it just says magic damage. So... or any spell damage. It says any spell damage. So I'm assuming it should proc the Cinder Brew. It doesn't refresh, by the way. It's just a 1/50 ratio.
1/50, okay. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, in the past it used to refresh with every source of damage that you could do. So you could cast it onto a hero in the lane, and then you have if you have a support with you that's got 2 damage spells, you can refresh the Cinder Brew's duration, which was pretty significant, but it was nerfed out.
Gotcha.
His top lane is interesting though. It's Axe versus Tide. Like, Axe doesn't really care about Anchor Smash. He spins.
Oh, you say this? He's taking a lot of damage. He's spinning a lot though. In Legend, he might go down here again, and will. They also do manage to get off the Cold Brace. So Shazo looking healthy in the end, and Legend.
That new Tide Hunter back
deaths
piece
out of
is so
2.
cool. Did you see the Tide Hunter's death animation there? Because he falls forward, and then the back piece's eyelid pops open, and then the eye just stares at the,
So
like,
bottom lane,
the sky.
Odyssey. There's a little bit of a strange engagement here. In fact, I'm surprised Billy is keen on taking this any further. He's taking a lot of damage as well. Don't think En's going to be able to finish the job here, but just shy of having the damage output required. But it was a bit of a curious fight. They actually went onto Muffin Man when the panda was quite low, so I'm surprised they went for that one. They're going to bail out Legend, who's been having a hard time on the top lane, because that does mean they start winning one of the lanes. Want to be forced off the lane for the time being. But certainly the Axe, I'd say, having the better of it. But it's so weird to see an Axe and a Tide with such a low CS this early on. Both sitting 7 and 6 respectively. But I guess that's because the chunky lads are battling it out. They're duking it out early on.
And the lane is kind of in a weird place. It was quite pushed in, but now Axe has got free from under his tower. But if you look at the CS compared to the Luna, Luna's sitting on 18 CS, where Axe is sitting on 8. That is very significant, hold. That means that Luna at bottom has gotten almost every single CS from the creeps, where this Axe has only gotten 2 creep waves 30 minutes into the game. So that is very significant.
I mean, for perspective, the Rubik is also sitting on 8 last hits.
Yeah. So
Did I hear a squeak?
Yeah.
The moment the Tide Hunter died, the Rubik got the same amount of CS from the lane that the Axe has gotten for the whole 3 minutes.
Hmm.
Just in that downtime. So he is a flash farming hero. So once he's got this Vanguard up, obviously he can always back away to the jungle. And nice thing about that when you're landing with a 1-to-1, it is a hero that does very like well with levels. So he can take out the lane, he can push it out to Splinter Blast, never really under threat, and your Axe can start doing farming rotations through the jungle. But I'm really surprised by this Luna CS. Like 18 CS is massive at 3 minutes compared to like everyone else. Like, it's above the mid, where it's a Shadow Fiend with
Yeah,
2 levels of Shadow Rays. Yeah, with 2 levels of Shadow Rays, he's not going to miss a CS there.
And bear in mind, he's also been involved in kills. I mean, a kill, singular, but he's doing great. Actually, I wonder what his gold per minute is, because that is probably fairly significant. It is 412. 412 gold per minute at 3 minutes is pretty absurd. I just want to make that comment. That's, you generally escalate in farm the longer the game goes on. But
It's still very early
high.
though. Like if you look at the net worth perspective, it's only 400 gold above the Axe. So it's basically that 1 kill difference, which gave him about 300 gold. Or Invoker bottom, just trying to harass a little bit on Muffin Man.
Hard time. I think the thing is, if he makes the same amount of gold as he did in the first 3 in the next 7, he would be par. Like I think you want to be close to 4,000 gold, and he's sitting at 1,800. So in the first 10, so that's pretty significant. Also, it gives him a nice run. You just got to make sure he doesn't throw it away, doesn't get caught out, or killed, or anything like that.
Muffin is being zoned a little bit, but his AA was pulling, so E&D just did a single pull. So there should be a double creep wave coming out now. Oh, Odyssey. I like this early level of Cinderbrew. Top lane. That's just no. They're just like poking at Legend a little bit. So once again, DUC swapped the roles again. Legend is playing off lane, not support, and FSM is on the pos 4 position. He is the resident Rubik player, as we've seen him play in quite a few games. So I guess it's just Legend is more comfortable on the Tide Hunter, and Legend is more comfortable on the Rubik.
Bully at the moment is also an interesting job from him to re-engage onto Muffin Man here. They got the cold snap off onto him, but the damage coming out of Buddha is significant. He gets caught up by the cold as well. Fortunately for him, he's being guarded by his creep wave. When does that happen in Dota? When do creeps help you in Dota? When you're in trouble, they just get to you. It's just they want to see your corpse. I mean, that is the thing about creeps. You think they're on your side, but they are resentful for all this denying that goes on. It's not about killing their enemies, but the fact you deny them the whole time. And they're just trying to help out, do the exact same thing. Maybe it's a learned behavior.
Oh, bottom again. E&D in trouble.
And they keep repeating in this bottom lane. And this time, End should go down. And does. Muffin Man, though, wants to try turn this one around. Odyssey tries to stand his ground. They will get the MP off. But fortunately for Muffin Man, he's actually very low in mana. So it doesn't take too much damage from it. Just bails out. And doesn't lose too much mana for it either.
Yeah, I know Frostbyte's trying to put pressure on this bottom lane, but putting that type of pressure on the pos 5 AA and then giving your Brewmaster kill to this Luna, I don't think it's worth it. It's just going to allow this Luna to move away from the lane earlier. So once Brewmaster goes,
blame Legend in a little bit of trouble. Will be able to get bailed out by his support as FSM decides that Legend doesn't get to die just yet. That'll come later.
Not right now. So yeah, this Luna will be able to move to the jungle quite early. She's already level 5, approaching level 6 with a rapid pace. 5.5 in, and she's going for the Dragon Lance build, and she's going to farm extremely quick. This Brew needs levels.
He's really starting to put any kind of pressure. You see, connecting with a level 2 Thunderclap with Cinderbrew on, and Muffin Man just, okay.
I don't think you should have gone for level 2 Cinderbrew. As an offlane Brewmaster, I think you'd take a level of Drunken Brawler at 4. So you can actually try and dodge these chilling touches flying out at you, and it's additional damage as well when you're fighting. How does Cinderbrew scale in damage? Total ignite damage is from 75 to 150, so it's a 100% increase in damage, so I guess that's something. But I do think Drunken Brawler is
put in trouble here. He gets caught up by the Lucent Beam. Is he enough to trigger the Cold Feet? No, but they'll turn this one around onto Muffin Man. This time they connect with multiple slows and the Cold Snap, but again, they just cannot get the damage out that they require, and that means the LT is available. Should they want it, Clip's not going to be used. There was still a Chanted Mango that could have led to potentially an additional kill on Odyssey, but he's not out of harm's way just yet. Muffin Man might still decide that it's a go.
Top lane
is alone.
Creep skipping. Shadow Fiend is, yeah.
Yeah, Crimson Tide and FSM pooling up in the top lane. I'm sure he's just here to farm this lovely stack and created for him. It's probably not the biggest one he's seen in his life. Maybe he's farmed the X1 earlier, but I like this moment. Just going through at the 7-minute mark to make sure that you get some extra value out of it. FSM though, caught up by Shazo. He's going to try TP out immediately. A nice decision there. Absolutely no way to disable that, which means that he can go straight back base, heal up, life's good, and he'll just trottle back down towards top lane when he's done.
So lanes have been kind of a give and take. Both teams kind of been trading a little bit with the kills perspective. Ember is just slightly behind Shadow Fiend, so the mid lane has gone quite even as well. This Invoker pick is just kind of, he's trying to secure the lane for this Brewmaster, and as you can see now as well, he's standing extremely far back. They're trying to get 6 on this Brewmaster because that's kind of their kill condition. He just hit 6, and he's used a split.
I mean, I'm not too sure where this is going because he doesn't have backup. Bear in mind that
they're standing still. He's not doing anything.
Hey, DC? He's pausing, so I'm guessing there is an issue there. Maybe he's the one calling the issue himself, but the moment, this means that Odyssey is all alone down here. Now, he's done a lot of damage to the Luna, but that's pretty much the burst that he has available to him. That stun's going to run out. In fact, I think it has already run out. Cinderbrew also going to run out shortly, so Muffin Man, in fact, he does have, I see his Earth Panda is actually tossing the boulder, so
the problem here is, so the problem here is the one panda only has 30 damage, and the green panda only has 30 damage. Your main damage panda is your fire one, and he's got the cold feet on him. So this is a really good play by E&D in the bottom lane, because in any team fight, if you can disable the fire panda, Brewmaster doesn't really have any damage in split, and he has instantly casted cold feet onto this panda. The other two together only hit for 60 damage. So if this freeze goes off, I think the Muffin Man survives here.
I mean, since we're doing math as well, bear in mind like the amount of armor that needs to be taken into this equation as well, because there's almost a 50% reduction for Muffin Man as well from those right clicks. So and
it's 6%. No, it's 6% per point of armor times max HP. That's your calculation.
Are we talking?
I'm not going to do that math now. You're talking about armor. So for every point of armor you have, you've got 6% physical resistance of your max HP. So it works off your max HP. So it's if you have 1,100 health with 10 armor, it means you've got basically 1,700 HP that you have to right click through. Effective HP.
Good. Well, the point is, he also has armor, so the 60% damage that the two other pandas is not going to be 60%. Is it enough? They're trying to finish the job, and he gets the tornado. I think he's buying time for the Invoker to get in on this, because he needed a little bit of extra help, and he does manage to get off, but the ulti ends. And now he's going to be careful, because this could result in an Eclipse. Does not come out. Now in trouble as well. Rotation came in from BNA. We spoke about this. Frostbyte are good at these rotations early on, and they kill both the bot laners. They resolve a huge issue that they've been suffering with. Luna, from effectively the highest net worth of the game, drops down to position 4. This is where Frostbyte shine. We spoke about it in the drafting phase. I said 10 minutes. They're saying 8. But expect great rotations to come through consistently from this team. Top lane though, Shazo, he's actually clawing his way towards the Shadow Fiend for the top position in net worth.
Yeah, so the nice thing about Frostbyte's draft at the moment is they can apply pressure with these Ember Spirit rotations early on and create this 20-minute window for this axe. And when the axe hits 20 minutes and he gets a shard with the Blink Dagger Manta, then he's going to turn the tempo up again. So their draft is kind of scaling straight through. They can fight every time they have Panda Split, or they're actually going on top. They're going on Tidehunter.
Legend is doomed. I think he's probably going to be brought down here. And again, Shazo catches out with the call. They've got support coming from Bully as well. And Legend, he's just waiting for the dunk. And there it is. Shazo finishes the job nice and neatly. Gives everyone a little bit of extra move speed as they get back to the lanes.
So Bully already has this urn. It's got 3 charges. So this is the nice thing about Pause 4 Invoker. Urn is really cheap at the moment, but if you get 3 charges like this early in the game, you can hunt. Especially with heroes like Axe, with Ember, the Brewmaster in the bot lane once he has split again in 28 seconds. This Invoker by himself can start putting pressure on this map just with a cold snap and an urn charge. Oh, and Shazo is just creep skipping. He doesn't. Crimson Tide rotating in.
We were saying he doesn't care, but does he care about this? Crimson Tide, they're going to drop the Ravage as well. They wind up the ulti, but it's far back. That's unlikely to result in a kill, but the body blocks from Legend are really good. Shazo in a little bit of trouble here. Butter coming in to help out. The Tornado will connect onto both of them and buy a little bit of time. Crimson Tide may be in trouble himself now as he's caught up with the cold snap as well as that first urn charge. And now Shazo, he turns attention to Crimson Tide. The dunk does not connect. The Rays will though. They'll find the first kill onto that act. They needed that one. And Legend fighting fit. He's going to try to run down Wannabe. Unfortunately, Legend is not much of a threat without Ravage.
That was a bit of miscommunication by DUC there. If they communicated their Kim, I think he could have gotten a point blank one off or much closer than that. Or even like ran past them and pushed them into the tower instead of, I don't know, maybe he wasn't expecting Legend to Ravage there. A little bit of miscommunication by DUC, but they did get the kill in the end, but they actually ended up paying for the Shadow Fiend's life as well. Axe did go down first, so SF did get XP and gold for it. But they definitely need to communicate that or combo that a little bit more crisp in the future team fights, HellBird.
Agreed. It was a little bit of an odd. Yeah, it wasn't crisp. We speak about this a lot, and it's one of the things that make the. Oh, hold on. Crimson Tide. He's getting caught up by Bullet, but he's got Wannabe there. But it's support and support versus the big man. The Shadow Fiend stands and delivers, but now the help comes in. It's going to come from BNA, and BNA will find the first kill. The Wyvern's curse is there, and Muffin Man, all that good work is going to be repaid by beating up your own support. And now Wannabe should be traded out for it, and will. BNA manages to connect searing chains into, or rather slide fist into searing chains.
And that's good rotations by both the supports on the side of Frostbyte. Ravage was used top, so when everyone was like full HP again with full mana, they decided, okay, well there's no Ravage, let's run at them. And it's what we spoke about. The AA is not level 6 yet, the other supports are Rubik. There's no real kill threat unless the cores come in. And Luna rotated in there and lost half her HP, and they got a Winter Wyvern kill from it. Shadow Fiend has gone for... Crimson went for a Mask of Madness build on the Shadow Fiend. I don't know how I feel about
I guess he's going to go for Butterfly and BKB. So he's...
Luna. Like, it's going to make the draft even slower because it means he's going to want to farm for 10 minutes.
I'm betting there's no one on the side of Frostbite who wants to go MKB, so perhaps Butterfly is just a great item here. But hold on, Crimson Tide caught out here. They're going to bring in BNA. The Ravage! It's beautiful, Legend! Making it work! The ulti comes in from the Eclipse, and Frostbite lose their mid. Wannabe might just fall next. The stun does come out, but the backline Muffin wants to avenge FSM. Won't be able to though, because that's going to be FSM himself who picks up the kill onto Wannabe.
Yeah, that was a huge
revenge for yourself.
That was a huge Ravage by Legend. That hit everyone, and there was already 2 heroes right on top of Shadow Fiend. So Crimson smiling all the way to the bank was just pressing R, but Legend did the heavy lifting there with a massive, massive Ravage. And that's given him, is that a full Blads now? Where he was quite a bit behind. Yeah, he was quite a bit behind.
I think he may have peaked. That may have been Legend's finest moment of Dota 2. Shazo will be nailed with the Ice Blast, but he's not in too much harm. He's
like no Yules on SF. Went with this Mask of Madness. I think if you had, oh wait. Here we go. AA.
Well, once again, they will catch out said AA and does get backed up though as they bully away their opponent.
See the intention there, like AA, Rubik, and Tidehunter. AA blast on cooldown, and FSM needs to throw the solo hero that's there with them away from their team because there's just no damage. They have to play around these ultis. Like we saw what Ravage plus Eclipse and Requiem of Souls can do in the last fight, in that last engagement, but without these ultimates, I think it's going to slow down again. It's farming time now. And if Frostbite doesn't pressure it in these durations, then they're going to be in a bit of trouble.
I think this is the moment though. I think we spoke about this again and again and again when we speak about Frostbite, as you get through that first sort of that 5-minute window where they look so good, and they've just shut those doors down. Frostbite were looking to create those intelligent movements across the map, force the Luna to I mean, the Luna has stalled for all intents and purposes. I mean, he was going from about 2k at I think 4 minutes or something down to 14 minutes, and so in 10 minutes he only made 4,000 gold, which is pretty significant considering of where that Luna was and how well Luna farms. But unfortunately for them, Crimson Tide, he's picked up the slack. This Mask of Madness build means he's definitely farming even faster than a regular Shadow Fiend, which is fast enough. And they're going to be very, very reliant on this Axe coming online.
Is it faster than having permanent mana just to raise creep camps?
Probably not. Why are you going to do me dirty like this? Ruined my point. That's irrelevant. Yes, you're right. Probably isn't faster, but he attacks faster, okay?
He's gone for a Shadowblade build now. This is a really old school build. It's cool to see, but this is a really old school build.
And then he's going to buy 2 BKBs. Just click on them, look. See?
Yeah.
Not
2
even,
BKBs, one for each hand.
It reminds me of who was that player for APG? I don't think it was Flanks, but one of them used to always build like 4 Ogre Axes at the beginning of the game.
It could have been Frank. Not Frank, it could have been Phalanx. It could have been HCG.
I don't know who, one of them used to have this thing about building Ogre Axes. It was
Bob Yule.
it wasn't Bob Yule, it was something good at Dota. Anyways, BNA. BNA caught out to mid, he does manage to get the Rem down, to be able to back off. Legend gets off a Ravage onto just the Invoker. Buddy will not be caught out by the Frost Blast. As Legend, he's still caught in a bad place. He should be brought down. The dunk comes out, he is in it, and the ulti from the Frost Worm, the Winter Wyvern, so good right now, but it does allow Crimson Tide to pick up his kill of his own onto the Invoker. Tossed up into the air though, as the ulti comes out from Muffin Man. It's not going to be enough, the dunk is there, and Crimson Tide in a world of trouble, caught up by the call, and should be brought down, and will be brought down by Frostbyte. I say this? No! He's gonna die.
He's burning.
A very simple reminder to have dust.
Well, they got him. But I think they're also surprised with the Shadowblade build. It kind of, well, this SF has got a Shadowblade now, and it's really weird. Like I love Brewmaster against heroes like Naga, against Shadow Fiend. We saw there the entire team gets hit by the fear mechanic from the Requiem of Souls, but the Earth Panda is just chilling. He stuns the Luna. She has to juke. She forces her ulti out. Jukes to the tree line. Still dies. And yeah, just good plays by Frostbyte. The moment that Ravage whiffed, Dark needed to back away. The moment that Ravage misses, they shouldn't be fighting there. And Frostbyte analyzing that immediately. Ravage only on the Invoker, starts, okay, no Ravage for them guys, AA Blast missed as well, let's just fight them. Because then you're relying on Luna ulti and Shadow Fiend ulti at the moment, and they're not fight ready yet. They need these BKBs.
But even to have them, I mean, Axes, he doesn't care about BKBs, and he's, once again, he's looking like he's going to get dangerously close to that 20-minute Blink and Aghanim Shard timing. This is what we saw Shazo do quite well in the previous matchup, and at the moment, he's top of the net worth, sitting at 10k. Obviously, that fight's certainly paid off, but that's still a problem that DUC have to respect. This Axe, he's going to come online very soon, and of course, with these illusions up, just watch me farm. Naga for what?
Yeah, and it's just going to get worse, because this Brewmaster went exactly the build that we spoke about in the draft. He went for the Hood into Midas, and he's about halfway to his Aghanim Scepter, and when that comes out, he's got 2 charges of split, and then you can go BKB afterwards. I don't think he needs it this game, so that means he can go straight into a Blink Dagger Refresher or just straight into Blink. I don't even think he needs the just straight into the Refresher. I don't even think he needs the Blink Dagger. So
the catch up, Luna, nothing man.
They're looking pretty.
Well, tank the EMP.
Oh, that's Pulse 4 Invoker is so annoying, because the moment he hits you with that tornado there, you know he's not going to kill you, but you can say goodbye to all your Muffet. Oh, Shadow Fiend. This is even worse. Is this even worse?
I mean, they do manage to catch up with it, but unfortunately for them, that Ghost Walk means
if that was a Yule's SF, he was dead, because he can Yule's and double raise him. So, oh wait, they're going on bottom. Oh, lots of TPs coming in bottom.
Now this is an assembling moment. Crimson Tide winds up the LT. He's right on top of the Panda, and they'll finish him off. Odyssey goes down. They're still bringing FSM. He's going to make the rotation regardless. Maybe they want to pick off a little bit more.
Check top lane,
One
put
of
up Billy
the
on the air.
on their way back. Buddha trying to duel his opposite number. D in trouble here, but he gets finished off by BNA, not the Invoker, as they turn their attention to the tier 1 tower top lane. They do have the creeps coming as well, so they're definitely likely to take it. They may not have seen the TP coming from FSM, but not enough pressure on the map to...
So what I really like is, look at the warding quickly by Frostbyte. I want them to play around this area now. They've set up the intention of we want to play in the enemy jungle, rotate to these tier 2 towers, mid lane and bottom, and that's where they need to be playing because they've got complete vision over the entire enemy jungle. They can see this whole Radiant jungle.
Well, you can see Legend as well. They're keeping an eye on him. Well, obviously, this is really interesting. I mean, if you think about Buddha as well, he played that. I can't remember. I know in the previous series, I'd lie. I think it was always with me that was playing that played a really good game on Nyx. But we often talk about how significant these kind of invis heroes are that are able to get information. If they die, it's not that big a deal because the information is more valuable over a 30-minute window. So obviously, as an
Breaking
Invoker,
smokes, etc. Yeah.
exactly. As an Invoker, it's a weird one because early on it kind of sucks because Ghost Wolf makes you walk slower, but as it levels up, you reach the point where you're actually moving faster, and he's at that point at the moment. So even if he gets dusted, he can just run away and hope for the best. And it becomes very hard at high
Look at all
level.
the sentries on the map as well. Look at all the vision. DUC is responding. Look at all. Oh wait, Axe has got the shot now. Oh no, 200 gold off the shot. The moment he has this 21, it's very fast.
This is great timing, and he's going to get it pretty much in his next creep wave or so.
He's also carrying a Grove Bow, which is really interesting because it doesn't amp spell damage. It amps magic.
It reduces
damage.
magic resistance of the attacked enemy, so it's
So it doesn't work with counter helix.
I mean, I
It gets
guess
15 attack speed though, I guess.
it gives the attack
Master?
speed, and it does also.
Heals on SF.
It does also, I guess, mean that he's still.
Not magic, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say, but at least he's potentially amping up his teammates or something. I mean, the Invoker and the Wyvern will appreciate it because he's going to be on the front line. So it's an interesting decision. Maybe that's something that could have gone to Wyvern and Invoker. Will go to the Wyvern and Invoker in the next rotation, but it looks like he's going to hang on to it for the time being. And of course, that shard, it's been purchased. It's on its way out.
But there's also there's a Pupil's Gift though, which is going to give him plus 14 agi, which is really good. I guess it's not 15 attack speed, but still. I don't know, just interesting little thing. Maybe we're missing something helpful.
Crimson gets caught up by the Searing Chains, but they will, of course, not have the lockdown to deal with that Ember Spirit yet. Means they back off quite
Increase the
nicely.
Culling Blade threshold, won't it? Because your Culling Blade will do a little bit extra damage.
I mean, I guess. But that's a threshold thing. So only if you miss it. Anyways,
It still does
Shazo
250
gonna
damage,
catch
though.
our end. And of course, they finish him off quite nicely. And quickly,
They're gonna go
Sunstrike was used. But I think they want some more potentially. They were looking towards the top lane where Crimson is going to TP out to use Shadow Blade. But as you correctly called, Roshan is going to be the decision from Frostbyte. They are tearing up right now. Let's take a look at the graphs.
Yeah.
At the moment, they're sitting at
super
about 6,500 net worth advantage. Their XP wants to mirror that, but even slightly more favorable. And with regards to the win probability, it's sitting at 75%. So DUC certainly having a much harder time here early on, but they're going to catch up. One of me gets off his own ulti. The A blast will fly through. It's going to go over the Wyvern and into the Roche pit where it connects onto Shazza. They're going to have to respect this. Legend still has the Ravage available to him. Odyssey losing one of his pandas early on. You see Crimson Tide really hitting hard. Billy also is forced off. Mr. Luna, that man starts doing a bit of work. As mentioned, that Roshan for grabs, and looks like they're going to go into it. Legend goes the back line. Shazo caught out here. Muffin Man, do they have the reveal? They need to finish off the Invoker. Doesn't look like it. Forget that. Go back to I lie. Forget going back to the Roach. You already have it. Crimson Tide.
Oh, Butter?
Finished the job. He's walked straight into Odyssey as well. He's going to wind up his ult on top of the Panda. And of course, with that Mask of Madness, when he opts to use, he's going to load damage. He forces out another Panda split. But he can't do a huge amount with this. He's got backup. In fact, look at them go. Those Pandas are dying. Big time. Doesn't care too much about the final one. He's going to make sure his Earth Panda is up on the high ground and safe for him to respawn. But Frostbyte, all of that hard work mostly undone. And of course, with an Aegis on Crimson Tide at the moment, he's happy to play very aggressively and start making his way towards that side of the map, towards the tier 3 potentially. I doubt it. They're going to have to settle for tier 2 as there will be respawning heroes in just a moment. But he goes in aggressively. He does have the sentry wall placed on his head though. He gets bailed out for a little while longer by Wannabe, and the damage is being done. But Crimson Tide pops the BKB. He's going to stand and deliver. Remember, this man still has an Aegis. DNA brought to his knees, and although Shazo TP'd onto the back line, he wasn't able to get into a position to actually fight this. Legend is very low though. Outside of the threshold for the time being. We'll blink back.
Oof, there was just so many factors there. They were way too comfortable in that Roche engagement. Axe kept his Manta for the his Manta came off CD and he didn't pop it to finish the Roche because he wanted to keep it for the fight. And if he just popped his Manta, I think they would have gotten the Roche there before DUC arrived. And Ember Spirit also stayed outside the pit. Yes, he does mainly magic damage at the moment because of the Maelstrom procs, but it's still significant. If they committed more heroes into the pit there, I think they would have gotten Aegis there and that fight would have gone their way. And just complete disaster. I think they... What was the gold swing here, HellBird? 4k? 5k?
I mean, to be perfectly honest, over the period of it, it was close to a full 7k. And the XP is worse. That's a 10k XP swing. That fight is just so huge. And of course, Frostbyte, as we mentioned, they did so much good work. They were in such a commanding position. And that
They were controlling the map. They had the stronger heroes. Everything was in their favor. They Axe had the Manta shot at a good timing. And just a little bit of greediness. Ember not committing to the Roche. Axe not popping Manta to finish off the Roche because he wanted to keep it for the fight. And now they're smoking up when all these ultis have come back off CD. So you're running into Ravage again, running into Eclipse again, Requiem of Souls, and they only have one split on the Panda. He does have Ags, so no double splits in the fight here. If this is the correct movement. Their lanes are pushed out, so it's not terrible. We see Panda did break his smoke so he can attack this mid creep wave and the base as well. He's going Echo Saber next.
DUC don't care though, they still have the Aegis, so they're happy to take the tier 2 top lane and walk into this fight. Shazo, you'll see a couple, does he want to go in? He doesn't have a choice anymore, Legend's gonna pick the fight, they delete Ability at his wall. Shazo in a lot of trouble here, he's got an Eclipse, he stands to deliver, he's doing damage himself, but he does fall regardless. BNA wants to do some damage, he actually wants to go on the Luna. Goes in deep, but you're not alone there, friend. We'll eventually go the far way instead, so BNA survives. But they weren't able to pop the Aegis. They weren't able to do much value, or get much value out of the fight at all. DUC just seemed to have all the answers at this point.
Frostbyte is just too overeager. Their Axe is 900 gold away from a BKB. A full 9-second BKB. And because he's getting control in these fights. He's getting AA blasted, he's getting ravaged, he's getting eclipsed. And he's just dying. He needs to get into these fights with a BKB charge. Hold on to his Manta unless he lands a really good call. And once these big ultimates are gone, then pop your Manta and start fighting. It's just a little bit of ogre eagerness. He's so close to a full BKB. The Brewmaster's going Echo Saber, which I'm not sure what the thought process is. I guess he's not even getting 2 splits off in these fights before they finished. It doesn't really need the refresher at the moment.
Fair point, but even then, I mean, surely BKB is the play there, or like I know BKB is kind of almost counterintuitive on the Panda, but you need something more than an Echo Saber chain. It's not going to win you a game. Like no one's ever thought, yes, beware the Panda Echo Saber, game-changing moment.
I guess if he takes that 80 attack speed on 20 and then gets the
Crimson Tide goes in onto Shazo. He's got backup though. They're going to toss out the cold snap. That might force Crimson Tide to an awkward position here. But he too has backup. FSM, they're going to be tracked by the Panda. But on the high ground, they await. Will they take the bait? Shazo is going to walk straight past Legend, who does... Oh, wow. He saw with Wyvern, wasn't there for long though. In comes Shazo though. The Aegis is down! Crimson Tide falls! The A blast should be enough to finish off Shazo though, and does. On the front lines, Legend without Ravage, still trying to be a tanky force to be reckoned with. Out comes BNA with the Ember Spirit side. First, you're going to have to back off though, as Mufferman's ulti is just 10 seconds away. They do have BKB on that Luna as well, so he's definitely going to be in a position to use it. Going to finish off the Winter Wyvern, as BNA needs to buy himself a little bit of time. He's dancing around, but needs to get out. Awkward, very awkward Fire Emblem. In fact, it's just enough to keep him alive. Just enough on the edge. As Bully caught on the low ground, he may fall himself and does. So in the end, DUC do lose Crimson Tide, but they actually pull further ahead as they take 3 scalps from Frostbyte.
They're going to lose their Axe here. He's not backing away. He didn't even use his BKB in that engagement. Still full 8-second BKB. Tidehunter is still alive. Ravage is back up now, so he's going to look for a Blink Ravage play. Luna also still has Eclipse. They've got everything. Like nothing was forced in that last engagement.
They need BKB and Axe. They need it desperately.
Oh, Ravage
goes in. He's either going to catch the back line Brewmaster. Odyssey wasn't able to get fight. He's going to split though. They want to try take this. This is an interesting decision. They're still running in 2 versus 4, and the 5th man could be on the deck any moment now because he has got options to TP into. In the end though, looks like
they
they're
need
going to
BKB on the X. They need to calm down. Shazo needs to get a BKB, and DUC is just playing around their ultimates like extremely well. They're moving around when they have their spells. They're applying pressure. This Shadow Fiend is hitting really hard. I know we like didn't necessarily agree with this build, but Devin is hitting for 350 damage a hit. Crystallis.
Who knows? Maybe Crimson Tide's just a genius.
Okay, yeah, let's say that. That's going to elaborate with a good old Joshua Viviers there and his right-click Shadow Fiend, which we haven't seen in probably like 5 years, but it's doing work. It's doing a lot of damage, and he's really farmed. 18k net worth. How does Frostbyte get themselves back into this game? They need to get the BKB on the X, but his farm is slowed down, eh? Because he had Manta, Blink, Vanguard, and Shard at what, 21 minutes? Just picked up a BKB now, a full 10 minutes later.
No, he's had a morbid period. I mean, I think it's literally 10 minutes. I think you're spot on, because I remember talking about this very, very close to the 20-minute mark when we were discussing his potential timings. So that is crazy. I mean, how much does the BKB actually cost in total? It's 4k, right? So like it's just slightly over 4k.
In
So
10 minutes.
But it's the 10 minutes that's in. The 20 to 30 minute on a flash farming hero, rough times. But okay, Frostbyte not going to take this line down. They're going to smoke up. We'll see Shazo and co looking to find something. They play behind Odyssey, perhaps hoping they'll get engagement. But Shazo going to face check a high ground, and you'll find out, Legend. This might not be the easiest target to go on. He is a tanky lad, and he'll be just fine. Backlines though! Searing chains onto 2! BNA destroys the backline of DUC, and BNA still alive and healthy. They're going to drop out the LT from the Winter Wyvern and Crimson Tide. They're going to buy themselves a little bit of time in that BKB. Now, they potentially go back in, and they do. And they manage to finish off the Tide Hunter. The LT comes out from the Shadow Fiend, but Shaz get the BKB up. Now Luna drops the Eclipse, and this means trouble. DNA has to get out of this. Buffin Man, though, all alone. Eventually, he will slowly but surely be brought down, and it's just Crimson Tide alone, and they know he's there. They're going to track him down, and of course, they need to buy it all the time, because Crimson Tide, he doesn't want to go down, but he will eventually fall, but he takes a couple of skulls with him. Even the axe fell there, but that fight belongs to BNA, because that Searing Chains changed this game. If they turn this one around, it was that moment right there. Even if you take the fight recap though, it's a huge change in XP at the moment. Almost a full 10k. The gold swing, also significant, but a lot more work to be done there. But Frostbyte, keep their chances alive here in game 1.
So Frostbyte is leading these fights with this axe, which I don't like. It's their pos 1 axe. He wants to be choosing his targets. They need to be leading with the Panda, because he does have the Hood and the Midas. So Hood will keep him alive. He's got the attack speed, and he can run into split. He opted for a BKB. So yeah, he needs to be in front so the axe can pick his targets better. But Shazo is being now forced into like an initiating role when he's a pos 1 axe. He wants to be able to pick his targets, and we saw what happened there. He found the Tide Hunter. After the call, he had to back away for like a little stint. That beautiful Searing Chains came out by BNA, and that allowed the axe to re-engage in a secondary position, and that's what won them the fight. But they can't be leading these team fights with the axe. But Roche is back up.
Interesting. They have something to fight over again, a big one. Of course, this one is equipped with an Aghanim shot as well, so feels even better. Probably send up to a support. So please just think of the how do you feel about the Ember Spirit shot? I don't like it, notAhero. Just out of curiosity, like I feel like this needs to change.
I've seen it be really broken at there was 2 games at the ESL, the ESL Dream League, where, because remember, if you get a kill, the Remnant refreshes. Yeah. And there was pro players that abused that mechanic to its max limit. So constantly like dropping a Remnant right before getting a kill, it's an additional source of damage, and that Remnant is instantly refreshed. You've got it again. So Yeah, I think it has its place. I just think people haven't like figured it out. It's definitely not underwhelming if that's kind of what you're hinting towards.
I hate it. To me, it feels like almost when you play on the back foot, like, you know, the TA traps, we use the traps to kind of push out lanes. Like, it feels something like that. Yeah, it's weird. I don't know. Maybe the fact that they replenish is significant, though. I mean, that's a fair point. So, okay. Anyways, moving back into the game is definitely alive at the moment. Really loving this matchup here. DUC. They've given us a real up and down affair versus their neighborhood Frostbyte at the moment. Of course, this is a very interesting matchup in itself. I mean, bear in mind that once again, if you consider where these two sides come from, I mean, Frostbyte, they obviously lost to DUC in the upper brackets. So they made their way there through the qualifiers. They were side by side with DUC. In fact, I think they were the closest two finishers, if I'm not mistaken, which means maybe they were the qualifying teams as well. This might be the third iteration. I don't know. We get like someone to double check that for us would be great. But the point is, this series feels like a total, just like reminiscence of all the things that we've seen before, where we just get to enjoy what's happened in this tournament, where these close matches come out, back and forth titles against two teams that are trying their absolute best to stay alive here. But Frostbyte, they've made an interesting decision because DUC, they're looking for the tier 2 tower bottom. They're going to get that. They're going to have to come back quickly if they want to contest it, because Roshan is under fire, and he's about halfway done. The TPs are coming in though, and they're smoked up as well. Crimson Tide is on the front line. Satanic, BKB, and Chrysalis. He would love to get on top of them there, and does. He walks in, he sees Roshan. I don't know if they know this is happening. He's going to try sneak it. Crimson Tide could have a massive effect on the game here. If they don't go back in and check this out, if they don't get interested, and I don't think they're going to get a surprise. And Crimson Tide, he gets bashed. But on the front lines, they're actually going to take the fight. Legend will get off the ulti though. A lot of damage done to Shazo, and Shazo is brought down. And Crimson Tide picks up the Aegis. He turns his attention to Muffin Man, but he gets tossed up in the air because that Winter Wyvern ulti was interrupted. Frostbyte are going to pay for this one, and DUC are going to punish them. They're on the back lines at the moment. They're trying to run things out. They want to kill the Panda as well. Odyssey is far away, but they are shadow blading after him, and they make ground quickly. What a huge
Crimson Tide must have been laughing there. He dropped a quarterstaff for it. His quarterstaff is still in Roche, so that is 900 gold. But there was no sentry outside the Roche pit for Frostbyte. Small little mistake. If they had a sentry outside here, they would have seen the two wards here, because Crimson just strolled in because he knew their sentry was still there. He completely knew he can just walk into the Roche and it's fine. And now this is a Luna with an open base. But Shazo couldn't even get his BKB off that last fight. He jumped in and just got instantly blown up. Like, BKB was still, like, it was just chilling.
Well, talk about blown up. Arteezy agrees. The Racks, they got blown up too, and they're not done just yet. DUC already going to work in the top tower, and of course Muffin Man will just mantle off the steering chains. The fortification will be used, and they have Axe up in 11 seconds. But DUC have a marvelous lead. 18k, Aegis, BKB still in cooldown. Buddha can't even get onto the fight. I mean, you can see the damage being done. In they go though, Legend does get off the Ravage, but it was a beautiful ulti that came out from the Winter Wyvern, and in they go with the call. They're trying to finish the deal here, but Crimson Tide, he actually managed to back off, winds up his own ulti, and does get off, but the BKB was there from Shazo. In comes Muffin Man to support him, the Satanic also used, but the Aegis still up. Look at the Panda just disappear. He can't even fight into there. The Luna did so much work, but he's able to toss him there. They get the equal snap off onto Crimson Tide, and they want to finish him off for the first time. But Muffin Man is still alive. He's caught up by the ice wall, as Muffin Man will be able to return fire though. He stays up, stays alive. He has his own Satanic, a lot to fight through, and they pick up their second racks here. Frostbyte really would love to stop this, but Crimson Tide, he'd love to take it. And why not? He deserves it. They're going to be able to walk this one off. Aegis, two Satanics, too much to work with here for DUC to fall. So that does mean they find themselves 2 racks up.
So Crimson is actually using the Silver's Edge to break the axe. And because they've got enough magic damage to deal with the 2 Manta illusions from the axe, because Luna Eclipse, AA Blast, Shadow Fiend ulti, there's a lot of like AoE damage coming out, so the illusions die quite early. And then he's applying a break to this axe, and the axe is just not spinning at all. It's really rough for Shazo at the moment. He needs to try and stay away from this Shadow Fiend. The Silver Edge is really hurting him in the fights. But we saw like so many clutch plays there. The Ravage came out from Legend, then Wannabe with an instant Winter Wyvern ulti to counter it, and then FSM stealing the Winter Wyvern ulti and countering again. So big ultimates, back and forth, very good phase of play by both teams. But that's 2 lanes of Rax, HellBird. It's getting rougher and rougher for Frostbyte at the moment.
It feels like DUC have just simply outmaneuvered them quite literally, and it's these small mistakes that have really punished Frostbyte. It's bizarre to think about how back and forth this game has been. I mean, we could be looking at a totally different game with the power of a sentry ward. Crimson Tide would have possibly walked into certain death with no real options, caught outside.
Because he ran right past Chazo.
He wouldn't have been called and destroyed, but in the end, he gets to make one of the plays of his life. He'll remember that for a really long time, I promise.
And they dropped the Roche low enough for him to just stand there and solo it. And Chazo was instantly blown up by the other players of DUC because he couldn't get his BKB off. That's... You gotta watch this replay because they're still kind of pretty confused about it, like how did Shadow Fiend get in the pit. But they're gonna kick themselves for not having a sentry outside of the pit.
100%. Interesting selection I want to point out here. Wannabe going for the shard. You know how much I love the shard for Winter Wyvern. It makes it so challenging to push, but unfortunately, it's not quite as effective against bigger creeps. So I think he's going to be disappointed by the fact that he can't just nuke all of them to pieces. I don't think it quite does enough damage.
We saw a game the other day where a Winter Wyvern by himself held me. Oh wait, here we go.
Hold on. That is a deep engagement from Shazo, but Legend will be able to get off of Fetty Handy Ravage and make that 2. He'll get off both of them, but they get off the LT from the Winter Wyvern to slow down Crimson Tide. BNA in trouble though. He has to back off. Looks for the steering chains to the slide cheats first. Doesn't quite get it, but Crimson Tide now gets caught up by that dust. And on the back lines, they're going to finish off another. They're going to trade that out, so their buybacks will come out from the Ember Spirit.
There's another split on the Brewmaster.
Brewmaster obviously pulled back towards Shazo. They haven't been able to find another kill that they wanted. They went for the illusion of the Luna. But they have found the real one, and they're going to re-engage there. Crimson Tide still has Satanic. So does Luna. So do they have BKBs. Can they get through this? Muffin Man stands. He delivers, and the axe will fall. BNA trying to bounce out of there now, but he's caught up by the FSM telekinesis. He'll be pulled straight back in, and they don't quite have the damage to finish him off. But both those two cores are just standing and delivering, and Frostbyte need to figure something out because those two BKBs, Buddha, just destroyed again. Those two BKB Satanics are literally breaking Frostbyte.
Yeah, and there's not much hard disable on their side. You've got the boulder from the Brewmaster. Ember Spirit's chains isn't doing, they're just BKBing it off and Satanicing up. So there's like very little hard. Oh, look at the Shadow Fiend. This man fighting the axe.
Yeah, what he did is he actually popped. I think that he popped the Satanic. But he popped the Satanic as well, so he had no chance of getting through.
Yeah. Broke him with the Silver's Edge and just hit him. But that's a feels bad. Like as an axe, that's a kill you want to be able to get, and he's just being broken, and then he has to back away until it comes off CD. What does he do against this? Does he? He's going AC next, which I guess is the right play.
Excellent idea.
Try and stay away from this SF, but it's easier said than done.
Crimson Tide wants to get the Megas. Gonna try defend. One last attempt from Frostbyte might be all that stands in the way of DUC. They do catch up Crimson Tide again, popping that Satanic. This time he's gonna have to be a little bit more patient. Though they get off the Winter Wyvern curse onto Muffin Man. There isn't quite enough damage. They need Shazo in there, but he's actually caught out by the Lunar Glaive, so he wasn't able to get onto it. Might have been enough for DUC to finish the deal here. As Frostbyte, they try
no axe for 2 minutes.
Everything they have. But in the end, you're going to walk into an A-Blast and a Ravage just for you, Wannabe. Although that Aeon Discord proc, the GG has been called, and DUC slam Frostbyte against the wall and say, you're going to have to come at us in game 2 because game 1, well, that belongs to us.
Oh, but it was just like 2 little moments by Frostbyte. They were controlling the map so well. They were moving around. It looks like they were controlling it. First Roche, leave it for Crimson Tide on a quarter of HP. Second Roche, leave it for him on a quarter of HP, and there's no sentry outside the pit, and he just strolls in and takes it. They went for 2 Roshans. dropped it past half health, and Crimson getting it both times, which is, and I think those were the two game-turning moments, HellBird.
100%. This game was very interesting, though. And I think that, again, Frostbyte, if they were a little bit luckier, maybe they had not quite as bold a movement for Crimson. Maybe, even the fact that Crimson went in there was a little bit interesting because he could have been walking into a sentry ward, so...
But he had a sentry there, so he knew there wasn't one for them. That's the thing.
I guess.
They had a sentry and an obs right in front of the pit. And he just
could have
saw
been
their
further
movements.
back, though, for example. So they could have seen the shadow coming in from the high ground or something. The point I'm making is just, it was that close. It came down to potentially just a ward to be the difference between these two sides. So look, I think we have, as usual, because it is EGL One, we must, of course, send you all away to go and update your Dota. Well, at least us. You can just watch on the stream. Don't go anywhere. But, of course, it's tradition that we're going to do that. So we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back shortly with Game 2. I'm hoping for Game 3. We're allowed to hope for Game 3. Can Frostbyte pull this back? Will the last of our low bracket wolves bite the dust? Anyways, we'll be back in a minute.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. I am having a great time this evening. I hope you are as well. I'm going to give a shout out here to the creativity of one Power Rugby 63, who I'm hoping was not born in 63 because that would cause an issue with me giving you credit for being creative, but I thought it was really funny. So I'm going to challenge the YouTube chat and of course play along if you're watching the Facebook stream to give us your best Crimson Tide jokes. So obviously positive ones. Let's keep it in a good healthy space, but I think he deserves a definite MVP from that match. A very interesting build, and of course I think DUC will be patting him on the back after that one. However, it's not done and dusted just yet. Frostbyte playing for their lives. We've spoken so much in the tournament about the low bracket wolves, and they are quite literally the last of the low bracket wolves. The last team in the tournament that is not quite supposed to be here. If they get knocked out today, we'll be left with the regular faces of Punks and XD, Sinister5, DUC, and of course Esports. Frostbyte want to keep that dream alive. It's an amazing dream, and of course, should they win here, the series, obviously not just this match, but they'll need two. But should they win here, they'll also be guaranteed a place in the money. And that doesn't suck either, I can tell you that much. But anyways, notAhero, welcome back. Let's sum it up for everyone before we go into the game. I think we have about 2 minutes or so before we go into the next draft. What needs to change in Frostbyte to get us to game 3?
To sum it up, to sum it up briefly is I don't think they should be initiating with their POS 1. Once Axe got those items, yes, it is still Axe, but I don't think he's the hero that's supposed to go in front. You still want to be able to pick your targets, because what ended up happening is he would just run into the Tide Hunter every single time, and you're wasting your Call Manta combo on the tankiest hero on the enemy team. And secondly, finish Roche, man. Just put all 5 heroes in the Roche pit, Frostbyte, and finish Roche, because Crimson Tide stole it twice, HellBird, under their noses. Okay, the first one, Legend came in, got a big Ravage off, and then they finished the Roche. Okay, so that was a different one. But the second one, he literally snuck in like a thief in the night. They had a sentry, Radiant had a sentry and a ward there. Frostbyte on Dire didn't have any sentries or wards there. And Crimson just sneaks in, ignores the entire team fight, and just finishes the edges.
I mean, if you ever wanted if you ever wanted a justification for buying that extra sentry when you're playing your next puppy, just remember Crimson Tide. Hashtag Crimson Tide greater than wards.
There were small little factors as well. So the Axe both Roches uses Manta like when they started Roshing. But when Roche went past half HP, he didn't pop another set of Manta illusions to try and help him clear it. And the Ember was also not helping him Roche, and he was doing quite a bit of damage. And I just think if they positioned their supports on the enemy side, or even the Brewmaster, because he does have split, and you just pile all your cores into the pit to finish the Roche, I think they would have gotten it. We don't know what would have happened, but I do feel those were turning points in the match.
All right. So, a little bit of admin before we go into the next one, because the draft is live. We'll get there in just a moment. The first thing, of course, if you're watching in game, I will always remind you, I will invite you to join us. You can chat us, you can stare into our eyes, as we imagine staring into your eyes in a non-creepy, mutually respectful way here on the Esports stream. And of course, to find it, you just have to go to YouTube, that's YouTube, and search for Evesports, and you'll find us live chatting here. And of course, you can join in on a little bit of fun and the banter that's going on in the chat. We're encouraging some tomfoolery. Once again, I remind you, I want to hear your best Crimson Tide analogies or little catch lines, whatever it might be. We'll bring them in here. And we, of course, will be also having a little bit of fun. We will be giving out some free stuff. So, tonight, we have, as usual, one of our 250 Rand Steam vouchers available to you. That is, of course, only available to South African residents, so please bear that in mind. And whilst you're at it, whilst you're typing in the keyword, which I'm not going to reveal just yet, but whilst you type in, you can also spend a moment subscribing to the channel. Make sure you're always kept up to date with our matchups. Of course, EGL One does do more than just Dota as well.
Twice.
And then you get entered twice. So, as notAhero mentioned, you will have the opportunity of not one opportunity, but 2 opportunities, of course, for the same prize. 1 prize, but 2 chances to win it. So make sure you do hit that subscribe button. You'll have an advantage over all the other lazy people who didn't click the big red subscribe button. But anyways, we're far into draft 3, so I'm going to... Enough of that. let's get stuck into the matchup. There's one last thing, actually. One last thing I want to do, and I think it's important to remember to take a moment to thank Evesports themselves, the people behind the scenes making this happen, as well as HP and Omen for the efforts that they're putting in making this happen. But anyways, cool. notAhero, the floor is yours. Take us through this draft.
So we see Frostbyte taking out the Death Prophet again. That's Legends hero, and then the Alchemist, because as we spoke about, that's kind of the hero DUC uses to solidify tough games. DUC goes and takes out Viper and Darkseer. So I guess those are just like Frostbyte heroes that have done their homework. They take out Terrorblade in the second phase, but then we see the AA make it through the draft, and then they go for a Bloodseeker. And I'm guessing that's an insta response to the Pango pickup. And I'm not sure if I do like it. Yes, it does counter Pangolier, but if Pango gets into the team fight with a good Rolling Thunder, I'm not sure the Rupture is that relevant, especially if you got like the Yules build, because a lot of it you remain in the air and you can still stun someone twice. It is a counter. I don't know if they're overthinking the draft a little bit, but we have seen Bloodseeker rise to popularity. We've seen it being played in carry role. The shard aspect from the hero is really good. The pure damage that it converts back to lifesteal of the hero's max HP. So lots of little cool mechanics, but Frostbyte with a very interesting opener. They go for the Lion, which is a very meta pick, and then this Pangolier, which we're speaking about. But we haven't seen much Pango at all. Is it like I saw Thompson do like an Echo Saber Pangolier at the last major, and it didn't. No, it wasn't even the major. It was the major qualifiers, and it didn't look good at all. So I'm not sure. Offlane Pango, mid Pango, I do think it has a place. And it is a hero that can get onto this AA and not really care. But now DUC has responded with this Bloodseeker. Terrorblade, Nyx Assassin taken out, and then the Ursa and the Drow taken out by Frostbyte again.
Yeah, so Pango is in a bit of a strange place. It isn't totally ignored competitively. It's got in this patch, it has been picked and banned in 19.5% of all matches. So it's 1 out of 5. You can see a pick or a ban, and obviously at the premium and professional level. But at the same time, it's got a 45% win rate, which again is quite low for a hero in Dota 2. So Frostbyte.
I think Pango's toolset is really strange at the moment. When his shard came in, a lot of teams were experimenting with it, and people were really doing some cool stuff with it, dodging spells, like multiple angles in a team fight from the turn rate. So it was experimented with, but then it just fell off because your other offliners like Dragon Knight, for instance, will do the exact same thing, just I think better because it gives you a push potential as well, and it's tankier. Dragon Knight hasn't been touched at all this series. SA meta is weird when it comes to like this DK Terrorblade thing. We see TB banned out occasionally, but Dragon Knight and DK. Yeah, at the last major in the international scene, DK and Terrorblade had a 70% win rate. 70% win rate for the two most picked and banned heroes, and our scene is just not touching these heroes. So very interesting that teams. I guess it's kind of a choice thing as well. DK was a mid laner but he's such a boring hero to play in my opinion. But I'm not gonna say anything about
who plays DK. You know what? I wake up in the morning, have my first cup of Joe, and I'm like, I really like that anime. I'm gonna play some Davion. There you go. I mean,
have you ever woken up in the morning and gone, yeah, I'm gonna play some Dragon Knight? I've woken up and gone like, yo, I'm a Timbersaw game or something like that, but I've never like gone, today is Dragon Knight. Let's go.
I just want to point out that notAhero has admitted here that he wakes up in the morning and goes, I can't wait. Not like, yes, I can't wait to, get to work or have my first cup of coffee or, speak to that person I really like. No, it's, I can't wait to play Timbersaw.
Hey, prepping for like the all tournaments, Comic-Con 2018, 2019, my entire team would like wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning, play 2 games together, and then we would all go to work and then play in the evening again. So 2 games before work and then about 4 or 5 games in the evenings, and that was so it's happened.
Bachelor life. All right. Anyway, so enough about notAhero being a bachelor. Let's get a little bit back on track here. So Dark Willow picked up, which is actually a really interesting combination with the Bloodseeker, because obviously you get ruptured and then you
And
run
there's-
away.
Yeah, but there's two mechanics there as well, because I think Bramble Maze with Blood Right is also pretty nasty,
Mm.
because you really want to get out of the Blood Right, but now you have to path your way through these brambles. And then you've got
Dire team
Ice
pick.
Vortex on the ground with that as well. Ooh, CK. They don't really have much to deal with the CK at the moment. I guess AA is kind of good because it stops the lifesteal, but it does really, like, CK can eat this AA if he gets on top of him. But is that a safe lane
10
CK,
seconds
HellBird?
remaining.
Or is it an offlane CK with a pos 4
5
Pangalia?
seconds remaining.
What's actually interesting is my first mind would go to the offlane because I think Crimson actually plays an offlane CK, or just maybe just
Frostbyte
doesn't-
picked it, though.
No, I know, but like my first mind goes there because it's what I've seen, right? But I actually imagine because the puck has got to be a flex, right? The puck is the. This is weird.
Quite a few
Actually,
things, because Pango can
Yeah.
also be a support. Like pos 4 Pango with Orb of Corrosion is Orb of Corrosion. Yeah, Orb of Corrosion is pretty nasty. It's a pos 4 hero that can do quite a bit of damage just with one item. So I'm not sure. It could be a pos 4 Lion, and then
10
your
seconds
Pango
remaining.
is a core. Your puck could be a 4, 3, or a 2.
5
CK
seconds
could be a
remaining.
1 or a 3. So, but their previous draft was kind of like that as well, because we had that Invoke pick and we were okay with Invoke. So, this kind of looks like it's a trademark of Frostbyte, where their drafts are very open until the very last minute, and then they can kind of make adjustments. But DUC then opt for this Legion Commander pick, which really good against CK because press the attack, hurts the illusions quite hard,
Radiant team
and not press the attack, overwhelming odds. Apologies. Yeah, it really hurts the illusions. It is a hero that can catch puck if he isn't paying attention. He can also stop Pangalia before he gets the Rolling Thunder off. So, and also debuffs. So
10
break puck,
seconds
coil,
remaining.
and Legion just debuffs the stun off you, and you can run away.
Yeah,
So there's
I-
multiple
5
little mechanics.
seconds remaining.
I always say something I love about Legion Commander is that it is one of the. I think it's the only hero in the game that has a BKB
Dire
penetrating disable and the save. So it makes the hero incredibly flexible. When Legion Commander is good, it's really good. And of course, if you do
the
end up in a
shard.
position where you end up in a long matchup where you 25 with a shot and you go for the AoE, press the attack, it is.
Oh, and not just that, like just the shard
10
by itself.
seconds
You
remaining.
20 minutes in, if puck doesn't have an Aghanim scepter yet, whoever
5
stream called,
seconds
Legion just
remaining.
buffs that person. He gets a free mini BKB and he just runs out of the coil.
Mm.
So, Razor Band Art, I guess it's good against Legion and Bloodseeker. Yeah, and is Frostbyte a team that'll run Razor? I'm not sure. I guess they're just covering their bases. But more aggressive, like draft from DUC. So Willow can obviously do things on the map early. She's a very high DPS support. It's a hero that can solo kill cores once she's level 6, even if she's 2-3 levels behind, which I really
Radiant
like from the
team
hero's
double.
aspect. Yes, she is very squishy, and she doesn't like heroes like Puck, which is AoE damage, or even Lion that can hex when she is not Shadow Realmed or just Impaler. But if she gets on top of a Lion or on top of a Puck, caught off guard in a Bramble, she is going to do quite a bit of damage. She can't kill CK though. I guess that's quite a
10 seconds
positive
remaining.
note for Frostbyte's side, that this Willow as a 4 can't just run up to
5
him and
seconds
blow him
remaining.
up. So Troll banned out. Why would they
Dire
ban?
team pick.
I guess it's for the dual purpose. I'm not sure. And Troll Willow has got a weird interaction. Like he ulties, you ulti him, and he doesn't, like, he ends up like twitching. He doesn't run backwards, but he also doesn't run towards your hero. He kind of just stays in place and like does a
10
little
seconds
shuffle.
remaining.
I don't know if that's been patched out, but I've seen it like 2 or 3 times happen.
5 seconds remaining.
Phantom
Radiant team
Assassin
pick.
ban. Kunkka?
The Admiral.
Oh,
I like
and they've
Kunkka. I
and
think- I
Timbersaw
think
has been
Kunkka's in a
banned.
really good place as well.
Yeah.
It's going to be very hard to fight into DUC at the moment because obviously if you do see that Ags come out on the Kunkka, even the shard, I think the shard's actually fantastic at the moment. So like a really
10
interesting
seconds remaining.
ability.
If there was
at
no
the moment.
AA, they could have gone like Huskar for Frostbyte
5
and made this
seconds
Pango a
remaining.
support.
Hmm.
And it would have been extremely good. But let's say this is an offlane Pango mid puck and then a CK safe lane. That means they need either a 5 or a 4. But DUC doesn't think that, because look, they banned Razor and Troll Warlord as the last 2 bans. So they definitely think there's still a carry missing, and this is an offlane CK. So, their draft is kind of well-rounded. I don't think they need to. They just need a little bit of more oomph in their draft. Something that can combo with this Puck, combo with this Bangalia. But their drafts are so wonky, HellBird. Like, even that Invoker pick the last game, like you don't really know what's going to come out.
I just realized.
Templar
yeah,
is
yeah.
now
You know what I
selected
just
your
realized is really
heroes.
weird? And hopefully someone just double checks with me, because maybe I'm misremembering the order of this draft, but like, wasn't Pango picked into Bloodseeker?
No, no. So, DUC had first pick. They picked the AA. Then they responded with Lion, Pangalia, and then counterpicked with the Bloodseeker.
Cool. Because that would have been I mean, that makes a lot of sense from that perspective, because you definitely love the Bloodseeker against the Pango. I guess with the Shard, it's a little bit easier to deal with now, because you just hit the brakes quite literally, but you're going to need it. So maybe like the kind of Yule's Shard build for Buddha-Billy. There's going to be a 4-position Pango, obviously, at this point.
Yeah, so you picked this Bloodseeker to counter Pos 4 Pangalia, which is not ideal. And I don't know how much Muffin has been playing the Bloodseeker. I do think the hero is viable again now that the shot has been introduced. He is a hero that needs to be playing off the front foot. He is not a hero that's going to farm himself back into the game. Your Bloodseeker kind of needs to snowball. I kind of feel he's in the same bracket as like Slark and those types of heroes. If they don't have a really great start, they feel really weak until like 30-35 minutes, and then they kind of come online again. So
what do you think the chance of us seeing a Ag CK out here though? Like this thing, like the dispel and everything like that. Do you think it's at all possible?
It is possible, but what are you dispelling? Bramble from Willow?
I was thinking more so the silence from Bloodright, actually, because I imagine like if there's Bloodright, it's hard to fight into this team at the moment, and I'm not sure how the mechanic works against Terrorize as well. So there's a lot that's like going on there that's a little bit awkward. So I'm kind of curious if we'll see it, but I guess that also probably depends on how the game's going, right? Like if the game is going a certain way, you'll probably see a different type of build coming out anyways. But anyway, okay. So hold on.
The shot on CK has kind of died down since they gave him the Ags on CK has kind of died down since they gave him the shard. So it's just better to get 1,400 gold for a shard, and then just get a blink dagger and initiate on people. So. Especially because he's being played in this offlane role. We know Zion then played it like with the offlane CK with like kind of like an Ags rush. But I don't think that is the build anymore. It's fun to see though, breaks PCs, but it's I don't think we're gonna see an Ags CK here unless this game goes extremely late.
I'm dead.
Okay, cool. So I'm depressed because I just saw my fiance boot up a turbo Dota game, and I'm hurt by this moment. But anyways, there's so much bad that's going on here. Anyways, but moving straight along, smoke coming out from Frostbyte. I think they're going to miss it, which means I get the opportunity to do something a little bit more fun, especially now the fact that I have to preemptively get a divorce. But this is, and it's not about her playing whilst I'm casting, by the way. It's about her playing a turbo whilst I'm casting.
Anyways, a lot of our viewers are turbos. Be nice. I just called them turbos.
No, I won't. But it will be nice. Because it's time to do to start our giveaway. Obviously, we'll be giving it some time for everything to run through. Once again, if you're watching game, come onto the YouTube channel. You're going to find it by searching for Evesports. You'll see us live. And you simply need to do 2 things. So the first thing is, you're going to subscribe to the channel, which will give you 2 opportunities to win. Your second course of action is to type in the magic word. And the magic word is Dota 2 ZA. 1 word, it's Dota numeric value 2 ZA. And then you can enter our giveaway. Of course, that's only open to South African residents, so apologies if you're watching from abroad. And again, you can only say it once. Do not say it twice. Do not say it 3 times. Say it but once. If you say it but any other amount of times, 2, 3, or 4, it'll end badly for you because you'll automatically be removed from the draw. Sorry. So, just 1 time. Anyways, let's get stuck back into the game. We'll see how that goes. And a friendly reminder, it's a 250 Rand Steam voucher, so certainly does not suck. You can be in the money along with either DUC or Frostbyte, depending who wins the series.
It's very interesting what Duck did with their draft here. Usually when they pick up Legion Commander, Crimson is the player to play it because it's one of his staple heroes. But they've opted to give Legend the Legion this game, and Crimson is playing the Kunkka in the mid lane. So, and I actually like Kunkka versus TA matchup, because if she doesn't take an early level of meld, which BNA hasn't done, this Kunkka is kind of too tanky for you to actually harass him out of the lane, and he can farm with Tidebringer quite effectively, and if he does hit you with Torrent, it's multiple instances from Torrent, so it actually gives the refraction completely, or takes quite a bit of chunks off it. So definitely significant matchup. But we have seen Abed from EG, when he goes up against a matchup like Kunkka in the mid lane, he actually takes level 2 meld, and every time he has meld, he just walks up to the Kunkka and melds him, and chunks away the HP like that. BNA hasn't opted for that, but he's going for the farming steady build. He just hit level 3 now, he hasn't skilled yet. Is he going to go for level of meld? Yeah,
He's hanging on to it, but they're going to just trade off runs.
Refraction. So he wants to go for more farming heavy build. I guess he wants to rotate out of this lane quite early and start farming side camps, etc., stacks and so on. Otherwise, I definitely think he would have opted for the meld there.
You understand that, right?
Bottom lane CK and Lion versus Legion and Dark Willow.
So this is an interesting one because it only rarely gives you the opportunity to engage into Legend. You can't really touch FSM. I mean, the fact that he's got the Shadow Realm. Oh, yeah. Well, looks like we'll be missing that one. At least I will. Hopefully our cameraman did pick it up.
He was just hanging around for a little bit too long there. Yeah, no, he was on like 150 HP and he got hit by one chilling touch and he just died. So just hanging around a little bit too long, not waiting for his regen to fully kick in. Because he had a solve, or did he just buy that solve? No, I'm not sure. But if he didn't, like he had a full solve, he could have just backed away and healed up. And Crimson is like hurting this TA middle. 17 CS, 7 denies, to 11 and 3. So Crimson is effectively almost denied full 2 creep waves from this Templar Assassin.
That is huge, really. And of course, TA definitely is a hero that wants to play from ahead. I mean, this is a snowball hero by virtue. And the weird thing with me as well about Kunkka is that in its own right, it's kind of snowbally. Like, we've seen Kunkkas get ahead and
what's up, buddy?
Again, it's top lane, causing trouble. Buddha being run down by Muffin Man, does have END behind him, but the Blood Rice kicks out, will be evaded by the Swashbuckle. But some good economic damage they've done. Obviously, there's a sport, it's not nice to have to pop that salve yourself. You want to go to the carry, who's supposed to protect you in lane.
Harassing this puck. Every time Odyssey is stepping even close to this creep wave, Muffin just, okay, I'm going to hit you. Bloodseeker's got 8 armor, HellBird, he's got a magic wand and an ironwood branch. That's the only 2 stat items he has, and he's sitting with 8 armor.
So bottom lane, Legend in trouble here. Do they have the damage required? No. Does manage to dodge the Bramble Maze. Although FSM is really playing. Well. Yeah, sorry, what am I saying? Because FSM's Bramble, it's like, wow, they're getting so close to it. I was like, no, why is he dodging it? It's his Bramble Maze. He threw me off. Legend, stop messing with me. Why did you dodge the... I'm not happy about this, okay?
Because Legend like juked through the bramble, you were instantly assuming like what's going on.
Exactly, I was like, oh, he dodged the base, but it was his base. It was probably a coincidence, but it just appeared that way.
It's like anytime there's Rubik and like Bramble Maze, they have to be a different color.
You know, can I just say this?
My Dawnbreaker in a pub yesterday stole my Rubik stole Dawnbreaker's ulti and he put it on top of me to heal me, and I ran out of it because it was the same color as Dawnbreaker's one, and I was panicking because it was gonna hit me.
actually, I want to say I have 2 PSAs for this evening. The first one, of course, if you're following me on Twitter, you already know it's coming. Is please do not eat a chicken mayo pizza. What is wrong with you? Why would you do that? And 2, just have the sandwich. Right, no, I'm gonna get a new co-caster. I'm gonna find something. Put a billion trouble in top lane. We'll be.
Have you ever eaten?
No, we're not going there. The other public service.
Have you eaten a chicken mayonnaise sandwich, toasted?
Of course. And you know what it is?
So that's doughy things with chicken mayo on it. I'm not saying I like chicken mayo pizza, but I'm just like thought process. Yeah.
And I just want to thank. I want to thank bottom lane for interrupting me. I want to be in a little bit of trouble here. Legend Not going to be required to finish the job because FSM will do so instead. But top lane, it's going to be repeated as Muffin Man and End want to get their own kill in their off lane or safe lane position. Side lane position. Look, I just want to make comments. It's really been great working with notAhero for all these years. But, you know, obviously there's some things that we just can't get around. And this pizza story is an issue.
I'm not saying I'm going to eat one. I'm just saying if you think about it.
I mean, I'm not saying that I'm going to ever cast with you again after this. I mean, what can I say? Anyway, jokes aside. I was going to make a joke about just Rubik's call your spells, guys. Do me a favor, call your spells.
It's heading bottom.
Again, Frostbyte actually on the receiving end for once. Normally these rotations are Frostbyte themselves, but Crimson Tide is going to go in. Shazo is going to head towards the tree line. Does manage to make his way in, and the Torrent's going to hit them both because the Cursed Crown taking them both, and they toss through the Cocoa Rum. It will find the edge of Shazo, and he's taking a lot of damage, but he is not brought down. This means that the rotation, in fact, is feigned by, I believe, the TA. If you thought about it, it says, look, guys, you're alive. Don't mess this up now. You use that Chaos Strike to bring yourself back into a healthy state of being, and also please do it urgently because you're being affected by the battle hunger or the blood hunger, blood
and
thirst.
rotations like that, when you don't get those kills, are really rough, especially when you're playing against a assassin, because she's one of the heroes that capitalizes on that space extremely well. You can clear out the creep wave really fast. Go to
Top lane, Odyssey in a lot of trouble here. Will phase shift the blood right nicely, but he's got nowhere to go. He didn't have the illusion orb, and he's finished off easily with a combination of the rupture and of course cold. It's actually a really powerful combination when you think about it. Just rupture into cold feet forces you to move, but you're slow. Life's tough. And as you mentioned,
both offlaners really struggling. Both offlaners are really, but so is the Seeker, I guess. Very not massive net worths apart from like Kunkka and Bloodseeker and then TA on 3k. But this puck is on 1,000.
Comes down to Legend. They've brought in Butter as well, so they should have the damage to finish off Legend. The Bramble Maze goes down, but it's not going to save the offlaner Legend.
So AA and Puck have the same net worth current. Like it's really rough. He is at least a hero that benefits from levels. So as long as they can get him level 6 at a decent timing, he can then start making rotations with his team. So Lions is TP'd on top, and so did Butabuli. Are they going to try and get a kill here?
I mean, I think they need it, so they're trying to deal with the Muffin Man equation. Muffin Man 9, that's how you know it's mathematical.
They've got 2 wards top as well.
Mathematical Muffin. And he's hiding out nicely. He's not being caught out just yet.
The mathematical Muffin Man.
The mathematical Muffin. It's Muffin Man 9. The 9 is for mathematics. Muffin Man 1 through 8 were already taken by South African Dota players. In comes a Blood Right, who decides to save it quite easily in the end, and they do bring in Butabuli as well. Muffin Man's going to try burrow his way back towards the tunnel, do so just fine. So the rotation does not work out. In fact, they're going to rupture Odyssey, who does have the illusion orb and does have an impale to back him up. But the fight's not over just yet. He's going to have to get out of the damage, and he's still being hunted. At the moment, Muffin Man, he needs a little bit more. He's disarmed those, makes life a little bit harder. The illusion orb comes up. So Odyssey will survive. In fact, Muffin Man is a little bit low here, but they don't have the legs to catch him.
That's a really feels bad for Frostbyte.
That extra heaviness might have had things end differently.
That's a really bad moment for Frostbyte. They rotated, and the AA is 6 before the puck, but they rotate 3 heroes in here to try and get a kill. They don't get a kill at all, and your puck is still level 5. They're sharing XP now, level 7 Bloodseeker, level 6 AA, and next moment a Rupture comes out, a hero's gonna. They're going on bottom. Kunkka's in.
Cat out Shazo, and the damage is definitely there. Crimson Tide and Co. with FSM backing things out with the Bedlam. Yikes. That's a lot of damage. You didn't even have to use
Bedlam is very disgusting, early on. It's super strong. It does 75 damage per proc, and it roams for 5 seconds. So it does a lot of damage. In a situation like that where the deal comes out, Legion Commander can just lock a target down. The Willow can easily assist in blowing a target up. But they also have Crimson here. He's opted for the Armlet next. Double Bracer, Phase Boots. Why is Kunkka Strength K so high, HellBird? How can a hero with 2 braces in a 10-minute game have almost 1,600 HP?
For the exact same reason that Faceless Boy can run in Rubik's Chronosphere. It's for the
No,
lore.
like-
For the lore. And what do Pirate Admiral, I'm not a pirate, people do?
They
They
don't
drink
have
rum, of
strength,
course.
Kane.
They drink
But-
rum, of course. And what does rum do? It gives you, you know, like some courage. Makes
Like,
you stronger.
I've always had a problem with how tanky Kunkka is, just with the strength gain. You don't even have to take the 16 strength talent.
Dyer's
Still end up with like
tower is under
close to
attack.
4,000
Top lane.
HP late game with one item.
Got Ancient Apparition, and they brought up BNA. And we'll get out the ulti, but Frostbyte don't want to stick around. They're backing off immediately.
Muffin's coming in.
Odyssey, though, in a little bit
Oh.
of trouble. They do still have the Dream Coil. They're thinking about it. Odyssey tosses through the illusion orb. Some damage done, but they have to respect the incoming traffic right now. And that traffic comes in the form of a bus, as they do pop a couple of Dream Coils. But Legend will get his first duel victory of the
Just what I
game.
was waiting for.
No, he didn't win the duel there.
Did he?
Radiant's
And he got
middle
10.
tower
No, he
is
won the
under
he won the
early,
duel
right,
bottom with
right.
the Willow ulti. Yeah,
Right.
yeah. The
This
top one
This is
just
why
not
we
enough
pay
damage.
you big bucks.
The, what big bucks? The big?
Bucks.
The-
Actual antelope.
Because I saw Legion Commander win a deal. So guys,
There you have it, guys.
note
If you want
for
to
everyone
be
watching, if you want to be a paid caster, you need to just watch Legion Commander getting deals and making mental notes of it. You'll be
Dyer's middle tower
you're right where
is
you need
under
to be.
attack.
you'll be an analyst too. Now, play-by-play casting on the hand is very difficult.
Yeah, you miss Legion Commander getting deals and then call it out later mistakenly.
You have to be corrected to make your analyst look good. That's how it works. That's the way that this works. Odyssey in trouble, top lane gets caught up by the Pram. Look at the damage that's being done. They haven't even bothered to bring in the support. And just watched it happen. He was just sitting on the sidelines, giving a couple of claps, being like, "You got this, right? You got this. Why give away my position when your position 4 can solo your opponent's position 3 without breaking a sweat?"
This puck is having an extremely hard time at the moment. I guess he's not that far behind the Legion Commander, but it looked like he wanted to go for the Witchblade build because he bought the Robe of Magi and then he back to a Blink Dagger, which I like a lot. It just means that they have focused on what their timings are. He's realized that he won't have Witchblade plus Blink Dagger at a decent enough timing. So he's
Mid
gonna
lane,
go- oh, Kunkka
Shazzo caught on. They're going to drop the kitchen sink onto him. Coco run! Oh my soul! Did he dodge that? No, it wasn't quite. I don't think. But it bought time regardless. Legend in trouble as Buddha Buddy is bouncing and bashing and blowing up the Legion Commander. And Crimson Tide, he's not out of
Puck's
the
coming
woodwork.
in.
Just Odyssey with the Dream Coil and fight potentially back in this. Muffin Man though, he wants to finish the job. Shazzo solo and is brought down. BNA trying to stand, deal some damage. But in the end, they have to back off. Oh, it almost looks so good. They had 2 cores for 1 though. So,
BNA's Mithril
oh,
Hammer
man.
was in his backpack for that fight. And that's 24 damage going missing over an Ironwood branch. I know he probably just... it probably just arrived as that fight broke out. But I do think he should have swapped it in. But he's got the full Deso coming out on the courier now anyway. So, would it have made a difference? I don't think so. It's just a little small thing. I think I do think he needed
I won't lie.
to swap in
Wasn't
the Mithril
expected.
Hammer there. But it was an even trade. They lost Kunkka plus Legion and CK and...
Plus Pango. So it's still a win for Frostbite, I think.
Yeah.
Especially
And
from
they have
behind.
this
with
TA.
the- Hold on.
I do
Hold
think
on.
Frostbite has the late game here though.
There's a movement afoot. As it looks
3
like
heroes coming
Frostbite
top.
are
Kunkka
picking a
again.
fight up, but do they know that this time around is going no, can't get off the Phantasm, but they do manage to get off the air blast. And in comes the Pango. He gets 3, but it's a hard turning circle back onto Duck. Misses FSM, going round and round and round. Will potentially and does finish off the Legend himself as FSM wants to deal with Wannabe, but unfortunately for Wannabe, there's something called Shadow Realm, which is going to hurt DNA as well.
Dream
The
Coil?
Dream Coil is beautiful though, and Crimson time to show us what you can do with those armor totals, because the damage is not quite there. They're trying to finish him off, but it's going to be Butch who has to walk back straight to the Bramble Maze. Falls clumsily as FSM. I'm going to enjoy that one with a smile. He'll drink to that.
Oh, it's Kunkka, man. Crimson Tide is armor toggling through that entire fight, and it just takes them so long to get this hero's HP down. If he puts his armlet on, he's got 2,600 HP.
Never had a chance.
2,600 HP in 50 minutes into the game. TA hits for 155 damage, HellBird, and that's
Oh,
before
don't
armor
mind me.
calculations.
Just a wee
Okay, yeah,
thing
she has a
going
Deso
about
as
your
well,
business.
It's not in her
it's
favor.
taking them, yeah, it's taking them so long to even get this Kunkka to a killable HP level that they've lost their CK by that stage. The TA is trying to hit, but very good plays by Butterbilly on this Pangolier. He did like 2 full turning circles on the Pango in the top lane, and he hit Legend I think both times. Ended up getting the kill there, rotated back into the team fight, got the disarm on the Kunkka, which kept his TA alive. So multiple little things that Butterbilly did in the team fight to keep his Templar Assassin alive and to ensure some kills for them.
Well, let's see what the graphs have to say before fight breaks out. I'll interrupt in a second, but I'm going to interrupt right now. No, but it really misses with Swashbuckle, and that'll be the end of that. So at the moment, there's about a 3,500 net worth difference in favor of DUC. The experience, definitely the thing to be more concerned about. 6k at the moment in favor of the flightless bird. Actually, they're kind of flightful. Ducks can fly. 75%, 79% win probability as well for Ducks, so they are in a great position at the moment.
Ducks, like logo, always makes me think of Mighty Ducks. Like
I'm pretty sure that's
team.
Mighty Ducks. I'm pretty sure that is exactly what it is. Or a chess piece. Like it's a chess piece of a duck.
I'm pretty sure there's no duck chess piece.
It's a knight though. It's not a. That's...
The Duck Knight?
It's a knighty duck.
And Odyssey's in trouble.
He is in trouble. He gets dueled immediately. Didn't even get the opportunity to face him. Beautiful spike comes through, but that's not going to be enough.
Yeah, they should just leave this offlane tower. This is kind of a dead tower. They should be putting pressure on the mid lane here. That's going to allow them to get map control. Defending this offlane tower hard is not... Oh, that CK's in. Oh, that's
really
a kill for
going
them.
to go hard. The thing comes up, but the torrent will slow things down a little bit. I don't actually think Duck going to pick up this tower. They dropped down an observer ward as well. And is that just outside
What?
the range of entry? No, it's not.
What killed the CK illusion so quickly there? Because he ulted for that, but I don't see his illusion anyway.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
I have absolutely no idea.
Just a... Was it the Legion? Okay, there's only 2 levels of overwhelming
Bot
odds.
lane, BNA in a lot of trouble. He's being caught out here in a big way. He's trying to get away from the tower. But of course, he's just got no options. And Kunkka, just so good at picking up
Doing
level
work.
4 and X, having a great
Oh,
time.
Heaven's HellBird.
He is a massive problem right now. And the thing about Kunkka, he doesn't
3,200
fall
HP.
off. Like, it's not a hero that all of a sudden stops doing work.
This is what I was speaking about. He's got 2 items, HellBird. 3,200 HP when he switches armor down. Top lane, they're actually getting a kill there. He's ulting for it.
Yeah, useful, but not huge. It's just the Dark Willow. It's actually doing a little bit of work as well. But going out for the fight, I guess, may as well. It'll be a live Bedlam is a very short cooldown. We'll have it up again. But this top tower should go the way of hot fight. And
So CK has got the armlet. He's going Echo Saber next. He's starting to fall slightly behind. He's on 8k net worth. You're looking at Kunkka on 10. Okay, he's just 500 gold behind the Bloodseeker, so it's kind of, I guess, like one little mini smoke gank or one team fight where he comes out on top. But unfortunately, he has been the one sitting in the front for his team in these engagements. But Templar Assassin is the real pos one for Frostbyte this game. CK will fulfill more of a 2 role. He's queued up just a Sange and then BKB. I guess that's later on for a Heaven's HellBird, or just to make the air blast last a little bit longer because of the status resistance, Bramble, etc. So I'm not sure if he wants to turn that into a Heaven's HellBird, but you don't really. I guess you can Heaven's Legion Commander, but it's not a must-have item this game. Also be an SOI. Chaos Knight does really good with attack speed, so. Oh, they're going to Roche. Are they going to Roche? No, they're not.
well, Roshan won't be pleased about this as they invade his territory, but this time there will be no home invasions as Duck. They really want this tier 1 tower top. Once again, they come out and they're going to find Odyssey. Immediately they go in on him, but they haven't found the engagement they want. Odyssey will get a little bit of distance and they get off a pretty decent LT with the Pango. He was immediately ruptured, and look at the damage that Crimson Tide has dealt. He's done so much work, and I don't even know where that came from. Was it a boat? Was it a Superman? I don't know. Shazzo, though, in the skylines, does manage to crit one to death, and now he needs to get out. His own armor toggling.
It's the race car battle.
Man is running him down. In the end, it's going to be 3 for 3. What a bizarre team fight. 2 cores stand for both sides, so I guess draw, but DUC will, of course, manage to pick up the tower, which will turn them in their favor. But I actually wondered with the graphs. We need to give that an opportunity to reflect, but since they're behind, I actually don't know if Frostbyte lose that, because they get the XP they need on 2 important cores.
And your CK and your Templar Assassin stay alive, your two main cores, which need to keep scaling. I do think they have the stronger late game here. I know Bloodseeker scales pretty well now, and Kunkka is just a nuisance regardless of how late it goes. Crimson has now queued up a Radiance, because he's got 3-8 gold after that fight. He's decided it's 20 minutes into the game, I've got 3,800 gold, let me just get a Radiance.
Radiant
Which is ridiculous, because, like, think about having a Spectre having a rough game, going for like the old school Radiance build. He still got it like around 18, 19, 20 minutes. This Kunkka is going to have Armlet, Heaven's HellBird, and Radiance on 22 minutes. We saw Precious Petunia for WRG do the Radiance build on Kunkka as well, but he went at first item, which then he had no impact in the game. But Crimson is clearly having an impact here because he's got this Armlet, HellBird, and now he's deciding he's going to go Radiance. And it's extremely good against Templar Assassin because you burn through her refractions really quickly. So you've got Radiance on her, and you've got Tidebringer. If you hit her with a torrent, you can probably solo kill her. So
Handy against illusions, right? I mean, they have enough AoE
against illusions, yeah.
but it's just handy against them on top of it. What is going to be the ganker, or the recipient of the gank?
Legend's like, kill him, kill him, kill him! I want my dual damage, kill him, guys! Because that was close to the end of the duels. Always it feels bad when you get a free pick like Legion Commander like that, and then you don't get the dual damage because your team just doesn't have enough damage. And Lion had Finger there as well. I just think he opted not to use it. So
Respectful. Well, I mean, wrong team.
oh yes, wrong team. Apologies.
Don't worry, it happens sometimes. I mean, I was
It
discussing.
was you that confused me with why is Legend dodging the Bramble
Exactly,
mazes?
Legend is messing with us. That's what's happening here. It's next level plays. Not even Frostbyte know which side he's on. Which team is Legend playing for?
Well, it's in his name, HellBird.
Yes, but the other 9 players, in the game are, you know, they're in Legend's mind. He doesn't even know.
I'm pretty sure
he only knows.
People don't even say Legend. They say Duck Legend.
Exactly. All the other 9 people in this game are replaceable to Legend. Next year he'll be playing with the opposition. There you go. You know, it's how it is. But there will always be one man who gets to. Because I was actually talking about this before the game. It's like there's only one player on the team that actually. Oh no, Muffin Man. Wait, no, that's just their official names. You look at their Steam names. The only player who actually plays as Duck Legend, or Duck anything, is Duck Legend, and of course he.
But
He's the man. He's the legend of the duck, the Nighty Ducks.
So has Legend even played for any other team than Duck? I don't think so. I think he started Duck and it's been Duck all the way. Has there ever been like a player in South Africa playing at like this level that hasn't played for any other MGO? I'm not talking about like a stand-in. I'm talking about like actually playing for a team. That might be an interesting thing we need to find out.
Maybe Legend doesn't know that you can change teams. There might
yeah,
be no one mentioned this for him, and like tomorrow we see him like Ian Legend. You're like, I just didn't know. DNA will TP up, but we will see the duel go down. So the backline's on foot. The damage not quite there for the victory, but Legend will very least secure the kill for his team. They commit the Coco Rum to that as well. Full Radiance up on Crimson Tide as they do engage here. They're going to buy back as well. A lot of damage comes out to Muffin Man. They're not enough to finish the job. Beautiful Terrorize comes out. Crimson Tide staying on the front lines will be able to do a lot of Buddha was caught up by the Rupture and he has to accept his fate. Backline, Crimson Tide is bullying BNA and both the cores trying to hit out of harm's way. But guess what? They're going to catch him out with the Bloodright and Chazzo stuck around too long. He wanted to help out, but in reality, that's going to cost his life. Well, walks into the Bramble Maze, the Torrent is there, the Bedlam is there, and the AA Blast, well, reasons.
It's getting nasty. Like, Frostbyte need about another 5 minutes of farm on their cores without these types of engagements. Like, TA needs BKB, CK got the Echo Saber Sange, and now he's going BKB as well. I don't even know if these BKBs are going to help them at this stage. I guess it's going to block some of the Radiance damage from the Kunkka, but they can't bring this Kunkka down. 3,240 HP, no armlet on, so it'll climb to like 3.7, and he is huge into the Roche Pit. But even Muffin, SNY, Maelstrom, going Scotty next, 25 minute SNY Maelstrom, does he have the shard? No, he doesn't. So this Bloodseeker has still got room for growth as well. If he gets the shard on the Bloodseeker, he can man-fight CK because it does percentage-based damage, your max health, and obviously CK strength hero, so high HP pool, and it heals the Bloodseeker for that as well. So he can definitely fight this Chaos Knight once he gets like Scotty shard.
Right, so just a bit of information. Whilst looks like we have a winner for the
Dire's middle tower
role, or we're
is under
about to
attack.
announce the winner.
Free stuff!
Free stuff indeed. As for one Joshua, I would like to say that although will not win anything, you've won my thoughts and prayers. Better luck next time. Alright, who is the... Oh, it's Imo-E. Imo-E is not a typo, it's the name of the winner. Legend goes in, congratulations Imo-E, make sure you do bring your typo-like name into the chat and make sure that you are in fact here, Imo-E. In
Were
my
you
opinion,
like staring at production, trying to figure out who the winner is because of the typo? Or the
Exactly, because of the typo.
And you're sitting there trying to figure it out, like what's going on?
no, our job is not easy, okay? And when you're sitting reading,
Congratulations,
and I
IMO
quote,
or Emo-E to the winner. Please claim it, otherwise production will re-roll and unfortunately you won't win your prize. So please claim it in the chat. Please claim it.
oh, and now they're all high and mighty. Apparently it's not Shazzo, it's Shazlo
Has been killed.
from
Oh.
a race called Cow.
Fortified.
I
Apparently
like Shazzo because it's got like a nice ring to it, like Shaquille
Radiant's
O'Neal.
bottom
It's like
tower is under
Shazzo.
attack.
It's like
Dire's
yeah, no.
bottom tower
I'm gonna
has
keep
been
calling him
denied.
Shazzo. Leave us alone, production.
Yeah, had enough of you guys. Your
Dire's
hard
look
work
at-
and making this possible. Ugh,
Radiant's
can't
bottom
stand it.
tower is
Yeah,
under attack.
like how dare you drop a 50k prize pool tournament for South Africa?
makes me sick to my stomach. Next thing you know, we'll be calling it a major. I'm gonna get in trouble for that one, but it was worth it, South Africa. It was worth it. Alright, moving right along then. notAhero, I need you back here, my man. You
No, you
guys
broke
don't-
me, dude. You
Okay,
broke me.
mid lane, Legend goes in. You're gonna get a big target once. The CK, the A boss, not the Coco Rom will put it up. Jaws won't even be part of the sequel. You missed that one. As they finished off the CK nice and easy, and Duck
Radiant's
look
middle tower has
very,
fallen.
very comfortable for making their way through this lower bracket matchup into the money. And Frostbyte, the last dang wolf, may just
I
fall.
can't touch this Kunkka. He's just way too big. He is so big.
He has effectively the same net worth as the CK and the TA combined. Just be a little worse maths, and you'll believe me.
And TA flash farming hero, but there was just no space on the map. They're been controlling the space. Like we said, they've got heroes that can fight more frequently this time. Got this Bloodseeker, Legion, AA, Dark Willow, and they can effectively like be on the map consistently. And I like this type of playstyle by Duck because
Damage
oh,
is
hey,
in!
he almost got one-shotted. Ooh.
Bad tower. Bad tower. You
Okay.
should have landed that shot. Unacceptable. Lives on the line here.
Are fortified.
Muffin Man forced off for the time being. Bear in mind, he's still got that Aegis up, so he is happy to be the siege. Or laid the siege
And
down.
Kunkka is just Xing people and sending them back to base. So everyone's coming back healed up, full mana, almost full HP, and they can carry on sieging. Yeah, I don't think
Tranks
they.
as well, so he's 100%. Muffin Man caught up by the Earth Spike. Will actually land on Crimson as well. And they're going to pull him straight back, but of course he's just way too tanky. And this gives an opportunity to re-engage onto Shazzo. The Bloodrite also goes down and just misses.
Under attack.
But of course, costs them next to nothing. Sentry ward down, so they do also manage to de-ward the sentry that was placed on the high ground from Frostbyte.
So their lanes are starting on the side lanes are starting to push in. So they've kind of decided that they want to back away, or is this a fake back? No, it's a fake back. It's a fake back. Their side lanes are pushing in, so and the enemy team can see they're not defending it. So they know they've smoked. They know it's a fake back because there's no one defending the side.
Well, you say this, they're going to catch out Shazzo again. The Coco Rum connects, and Shazzo in a little bit of trouble, but, and there's a big but, Legend has been forced back. Crimson Tide BKBs onto the front lines, but he hasn't gotten a huge amount of good out of it, because because they're going to trade off one of their cores. It is a big an Aegis carrier though, so it means they'll get him back in. They've picked up 2, and now they're going to have to force the buybacks. What is the state like?
No
There is in
buybacks.
fact no buyback on the CK and no buyback on the Pango. And that means at the absolute least they're going to get the mid-racks. And they may realize that should there have been a buyback from these players, they would have used it by now. This would be a great opportunity. They are respecting the potential burst damage from the TA, so they're being careful. But the reality is they're going to claim this racks no problem, and now they have options. Do they force the issue and go bottom, or do they just accept their offerings? I think they get to play it safe. Game in hand,
Push out
but
your
no
side
need
lanes.
to rush things.
Yeah, push out your side lanes, regain control of the map after your side lanes are pushed out. Bloodseeker's got the Scotty now as well. He's gonna buy the Aghanim shot as soon as he has buyback. I think he can even buy out for it, but playing it smart, playing it the right way. He needs a shard. So once the CK is not surviving these fights already, and now this Bloodseeker can actually man fight him, which is a big
Just what I
problem.
was waiting for.
Any significant items on the side of Frostbyte HellBird? Pango is going Lincoln Sphere, so he doesn't get ruptured. while
Somebody
he's
else get
running
ruptured.
forward.
Anybody else. He's just going to get
I
hit by
am-
something
Oh,
else.
Legion top? Oh, it's yeah. Oh, they're
So
turning
Legend
this?
actually might be in a little bit of trouble. There's Shazza also in these rounds, but they do catch out the T on the back end of the Bramble Maze. Should take some cues from Legend and dodge them, and Legend will in fact TP out as well. Congratulations are in order for the man, the typo, the Legend himself, MOE. Seems like he has responded, so enjoy your Steam voucher and let us know on Twitter or so what you do end up buying with it. We don't actually have to, but you know, it's nice. You guys never write, you never call. We'll give you free stuff, but don't ever at me to say what they bought or how their shirt fits, etc. Alright.
There's a Aghanim Scepter now as well. It's pretty decent because there is BKBs on the side of DUC. So BKB on Bloodseeker, he just has the SNY, but Kunkka has a BKB. But I don't think this Axe is enough to control them because this Kunkka's HP pool is so high. He doesn't really care if he's been dream coiled. He just
I just
stands
walk
his
straight over.
ground.
It's a mini stun
Yeah.
at that point. Once again though, they're going to catch up with her. He's desperate for this Lincoln. You're not getting it, they said. They go in with Odyssey though. But it's not an amazing engagement. They
go
do
off.
get nothing max, but they're
Oh,
going
he's
to be
been
able to stand their ground. Crimson Tide just beating up Shazzo. He has no chance of winning this fight. Has to back off. At the moment, Crimson Tide feels like he can just run around as he pleases. The fight rages on the back lines to pick up the TA, and they now want to finish the job onto Wannabe's line. And they may just be able to do that, but it does not connect with the Swashbuckle. That will seal the deal for the line. He has to buy back. Do they have buyback on the TA? Yes. They'd love to save it though.
But Kunkka's
Love
just
to
exiting
save
himself
themselves
to get the
alive,
base.
but
He's gonna be
again,
back
they
soon.
just bring in the cavalry. They're going to keep bringing heroes back. Crimson Tide actually not quite as healthy as he might like to be, but he's so chunky.
2,800 HP. Is he enough?
Definitely healthy. He's got a lot of
Healthy
armor.
enough.
22 armor as well does not suck. Wannabe going to be caught out, and this is bad news for Frostbyte because this almost certainly means the Lion's going to fall. They do manage to keep him alive a little while longer. The Psalm will come out from Frostbyte's Swashbuckle, but in the end, they pick up the line again. So now they wait for their cores come back online. Shazzo will have to deal with Jaws himself as they bring him down. The air blast flies over, an extra shock comes in. It's not the sequel, it's the trilogy. And right now, DUC have no
just
interest
starting
in
there.
said trilogies. They want to finish this off right here, right now. 22k net worth lead. 2-0, 2-0, we'll make
Crimson
it
just
2-0
tidal
again.
waving people. He's gonna tidal wave again. There we go.
Yep, we're really sucked back in. The Bramble will come with them. Finish up yet another 3. No reason to GG out of this one for Frostbyte.
Just a wee fairy.
The dream
No,
is still
no.
alive, but it is
Still got a whole
fading.
lane of rack.
They're waking up and
just
it's
so hard.
Monday.
They don't have the tools at the moment to deal with all the damage that's coming out. Tankiness, damage, sustain. Like the heroes are constantly going back to base with X marks the spot. But yeah, this CK, even with his ulti up, can't even touch this Kunkka, which is really rough. And they have no means to get on top of this AA. I know TA went Blink Dagger, but she's jumping in the backline, and then just getting focused by Legend or by Crimson. So, and they have to kill this AA. He's causing way too. Oh, big Dream Coil.
Dream Coil is decent. Going to connect onto 2. Blast goes through Odyssey in a dangerous position, but they want to try on the back line, and they'll find the first. Crimson Tide actually took a lot of damage there. They still have Odyssey in the front line. He's tossed up in the air though. He wants to survive, gets feared, and he will be brought down as well. Muffin Man, he's hyped up. He's moving fast. Takes a lot of damage from the tier, but they will manage to find another kill.
Odyssey?
As well as FSM go down. BNA just breaks one.
Just
In the end, they will stay alive a little while longer. It's not nearly enough. Frostbyte have so much more work to do.
Got a few more of those. Then they definitely
4 or
back
5
in this, but
maybe?
it's still. Phew.
Nice mustache.
No, I think about 6 or 7, but definitely if magic number the number 9 as in Muffin Man's name. So, but yeah, that's something for them. They're smoking up. They've got a trap in the Roche bed, which is very. They see the Roche as well. They're gonna get Roche out of this, and that's Aghanim Shard and a cheese. So who
They're also
are they
gonna
gonna give the shard to? Probably to CK.
I mean, the Sonic Trap silence also isn't bad, just want to point out. But Crimson,
CK's illusions are
you've done this before! What are you doing this time? This time around, they managed to go for pretty decent engagement with it.
Yeah.
But the damage, it's not there for the Sharks, but the damage is there for the right clicks. And Shazo, he's just picked it up, but he's going to lose it. He's going to lose it again. Crimson Tide winds up the turret. And this may be the end. The Phantasm comes out. Shazo will stand his ground. But in the end, DUC have one thing left to do.
How do they kill this Kunkka? You just can't. 1200 HP if he puts armlet on. He's going for a heart next. It's very rough, and there's so much damage coming out. Muffin, he's got a leveler now. Scotty, Maelstrom, SNY, he's got the shard with a leveler. All the heroes have scaled. If you look at the net worth, like Dark Willow is same net worth as the Puck, and Puck is a notoriously fast farming hero, but they just never had a chance. Oh, Dream Coil.
Oh, they go. Look at the damage comes on the Puck. They're trying to stand their ground. BNA though is in so much trouble. He wants out. The legend says get over here, and he will get that duel victory, and he'll get another one as well, because DUC have nothing left to do but to claim their prize as Frostbyte fall out of it. The wolves are gone. The ducks will reign supreme as DUC start to go fishing for wolves? I guess so. Having a little bit of fun, but this is all but decided.
Puck's in again, but he's gonna die.
Shazo has the BKB off, doing damage to Muffin Man, but not quite enough. Crimson Tide,
Oh,
literally
those illusions!
trying to do his fishing, because he is literally bringing them back. It's no longer the Tide, bring us the Tide, get over here. Terrorized, being wound up with the back lines. DUC are enjoying it. Odyssey, though, will do a little bit of damage to FSM as they keep themselves in this tournament for a little while longer, but the throne will fall to the GG. It's a sad farewell to Frostbyte, who I think
just what I was
were a
waiting
great team to watch, and they had fantastic moments. But hey, DUC have looked so good in recent times, and they've brought a little bit of normality back into this. Of course, this means there are remaining teams or sides that you'll be familiar with, the likes of DUC, Esports, Sinister 5, of course, Punks, and last, I think I missed out XD. I don't know, not quite sure, but 5 names you'll definitely know. But it has been a phenomenal run from some of the lower bracket sides, and I think although it is the end of the teams that we don't get to see as much of, it was great to see them
Something
this
interesting
month.
though is the teams that are left at the moment is the 4 invitees and the team that won the qualifier.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's the thing. Like, normality did finally find its way, but
After
the
all
reality
the
is
chaos.
that it is after all the chaos. And I think that's a testament to these sides, but also a testament to the growth, because don't forget that Pingu and WRG, 2 victims of teams that you never really expected to see go this far and do so well. So it really was great to see it. And even Punks, they were pushed a little bit as well at times. So I do really appreciate what some of these lowest bracket teams, the qualifying sides, have given us. And I'm sad to say that they're gone here. They're gonna, of course, for Frostbyte, it's not quite over yet, because they still have a little bit of business that they'll have to take care of between the loser of XD and Punks, but that's going to be a really tough matchup all the same. Of course, that is still a money match. So if you're a fan of Frostbyte, don't give up on them just yet. Although their road to the championship may be over, their road here at EGL One still has one last final farewell. But yeah, we might be getting an interview with one of the players. We're going to hang around for a little while longer. If you're enjoying the show, if you want to be part of that interview, make sure you're watching on the YouTube or the Facebook stream. And of course, take a moment to hit that subscribe button. Support Evesports as they support South African Dota 2. All right, notAhero. Let's talk about what went wrong here so we can buy a little time. In fact, I lie. Let's talk a little bit about what went right here for DUC, because their story continues as they still have a part to play.
So I'm gonna openly say things like we saw two different duck sides here, or two different play styles by them, game 1 and game 2, and it's kind of scary when a team can execute both, because game 1 they had a slower paced draft, they had all these big ultimates that they needed to play around, and they played around the Ravagers, they played around the enemy's Brewmaster split, they played around the Luna, they played around the SF, and it was a much slower draft, which kind of makes you play different type of Dota. And they executed it and they won the game. Obviously, Frostbyte in that game, we spoke about them giving Duck 2 free Aegises, which I do think was a turning point in the game. But Duck still executed, and that's kind of the crucial thing here. And then the second game, it was a much higher tempo draft. Legion Commander is a very fast hero because Duel's got a low CD. They had this Dark Willow, they had the AA again, which is also not big CD ultis, and then this Kunkka, which can basically permanently put pressure on the map, permanently fight, and Bloodseeker as well, which not that reliant on Rupture, did take the Pangolier completely out of the fights. We saw the poor Pango even wanted to go Lincoln Sphere because he's just getting ruptured every single fight. But they executed the second game even better, I think. Like a tempo draft with Crimson rotating around the map. Like we said, he is kind of like they're putting him as their win condition with the heroes that he's playing. And I want to see more of game 2 for Duck going forward, because I think that's when they're going to beat teams like XD, Sin 5. We saw them take a game off Sin 5 last year in one of the big championships that was going on. And that's what I want to see more of, because they look so dangerous when they're playing with pace.
All right, well, let's hear it from the horse's mouth, because we actually have Muffin Man from DUC, who's going to join us for a very brief interview where we can get his thoughts on the matchup and what's yet to come. So let's all welcome him. Muffin Man, welcome to the broadcast, and congratulations.
Muffin Man 9, HellBird. Muffin Man 9.
Muffin, the mathematical Muffin Man. Welcome to the
Thank you
broadcast.
so much. Thank you. Thanks so much for the cast. It was awesome, guys.
It was an absolute pleasure. It's been a lot of fun casting you guys.
So Muffin, we just briefly spoke about like the two different like play styles you guys had between game 1 and game 2. Because game 1 was a more like drawn out play style. You guys had big ultimates, had to kind of wait for those CDs. And then game 2, you guys just went for this all out, like we're gonna run at your face draft. Why the change? Why the change specifically in the two drafting styles when the first one won you a game?
Well, I think the first one took quite a while to actually click. You know, the physical SF takes quite some time to come online, and it was a bit close, a bit close for comfort. But
yeah, because game 2 you guys were dominant because you could constantly play the map.
Yeah, I think we just really like picking the strong lanes and the lane dominators, and I think that just really works for us. You know.
No, I told HellBird now as well, like going forward, I really hope you guys play more of like your game 2 drafting style, because it does look like it suits you. It opens the map up for you guys to kind of choose your fights, and your calls always seem to be at the right place at the right time. Well played.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Right,
and well played to the other team, of course.
It's such a polite team. I like this. You know, I like this stuff here. So I do have a question as well. Do you think that Frostbyte have figured out how Crimson Tide got into the Roche pit yet?
I don't know, but the blue wards are very strong. Eh?
Those blue ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was because I do feel that was game 1. That was a turn. Because Frostbyte was playing the map quite well, and Crimson first Roche, they drop it until like a quarter HP. Axe doesn't pop Manta to finish it. They back away. Legend hits a great Ravage, and you guys win that fight and then claim the Roche. But the second one, game on like on an edge again, and Crimson just Shadowblades strolls into Roche pit. You guys have a sentry right in front of Roche, so he's kind of fine. And while you guys are team fighting, he's 3-shotting Roche because it was so low, claiming another Aegis and cheese. So it was really bad moment for Frostbyte, but really good moment for you guys.
No, for sure. I think those rush fights were kind of the tipping point in the game for us. And Josh is just quite a cheeky guy to try the Shadowbear play into the pit. And I couldn't believe it was working, but it did.
It was definitely one of those. Yeah, one of the. Remind us to point out next time it doesn't work, because it's going to happen, right? Like once you've done it once and pulled it off, you're going to go for that second time. But okay, so once again, congratulations, you guys have done. It's great to see how DUC has been performing. It feels like as a squad, you're just getting better and better, which is always wonderful to see from technically a very old team that isn't, stale, so to speak. So I really do appreciate that. But of course, looking forward towards your next matchups, you're going to be playing the winner of XD or Punks. Do you have any preferences, any thoughts about that next matchup? Who you think's going to win and who you'd prefer to play?
I mean, both are very strong teams, but got to give it to XD. Even though I'm rooting for my boy Jace, but XD is very, very strong and a bit of a weakness for us. One of the teams we can't seem to beat. Can't even take a game off, shall I say.
Okay, well, hopefully, well, I guess if you do find yourselves up against XD, I hope that at least take one game off. That's all I can give you without being unbiased without being biased, excuse me, as a caster. So we definitely love close matchups all the same. So, anyways, go enjoy your win. Thank you so much. We're going to do an interview with Shazzo, but again, just a little tip of the cap to DUC and congratulations.
Cheers, thanks so much.
Awesome. All right, so on that note, we are actually going to chat to Shazzo as well, or Shazoo, or we'll ask him how he pronounces it. So if our dear production friends be so kind as to get Shazzo in here. Shazzo, welcome to the broadcast. The first things first, we have to ask, how do you pronounce your name? We're having a formal dispute in the casters chat.
It's just Shazzo Phoenix.
There we go. Thank you very much. Moving on, we'll just point a pointer there to the casters. Take that, production. Anyways,
take that.
Of course, I'm going to say something a little bit strange here, and I hope you don't take offense. But I really want to congratulate you on how well your team has performed over the course of this tournament. Obviously, at the back of a loss, it may feel a little bit. It's not what you expect to hear, but I've really been entertained, and I think we've all been really entertained with the performance of Frostbyte. And I'm curious to know about how your team is doing. Not right now, obviously. Right now, you might still be looking at wounds, but over the course of this tournament, how you're feeling and how you're coming together.
Feel personally that we've connected a lot throughout this tournament. We've improved a lot from the qualifiers to where we are in the main event now. We've been connecting more, we're playing better, but there's still a lot of work for improvement, obviously.
Yeah, you guys, like we were going through the first game in the break, you guys had so many, like when you go and watch the replays, you guys are going to kick yourselves a little bit because Shadow Fiend waltzed into the Roche pit when you guys left it on like 10, like I think it was on 200 HP because they had a sentry and a ward outside the pit. But little moments like that, if you guys iron them out, you're definitely going to be a force to be reckoned with because the way you guys controlled the map game one was perfect. Like you guys moved in the right directions, like you pushed out the right lanes, you got the right picks, and you guys played really well. And just a little few small things didn't go your way. Yeah. So keep at it, keep grinding, keep your guys' spirits up. I know it's a little bit sour in the mouth at the moment hearing these types of things after a series like this. But you guys are playing entertaining Dota and playing good Dota, so keep it up.
Thanks a lot.
So I have a question for you. It feels like you guys come alive towards I think it's like the 8 to 12 minute mark. I'm very curious what the thought process is behind it because you look so sleek around that consistently. Is there like a de facto kind of call that you guys make? Is it playing around a particular ultimate? What is happening there?
So basically, lanes are for what it looks like the best for us, it seems. But we try to play around item and ability timings. Obviously, the first game was the Brewmaster ulti timing. We wait for the Brewmaster ulti, play around that, play around the Ravage being down and all that. And yeah, that's item and
No, it's
ability timings. Yeah.
You're making a very well executed thing sound very simple. I'm not gonna lie. It's like so that's all you guys. When Brewmaster gets 6, then just go beat your opponent.
Yeah,
so that's
just-
and then we'll see you in
so
the
Brewmaster
round 4.
next 2 weeks. SA pubs only Brewmaster. Frostbyte says Brewmaster level 6. You can fight and win the game.
Yeah, just ulti and run at them. It's easy as that.
So what you're saying is very true. It's a good learning curve for up and coming players and up and coming teams watching. So you're talking about it like it's a light thing, but like I've been doing a lot of coaching over the span of the last few months with lower division teams, and that you mention it like this in a light-hearted way, it means that your team is understanding the game, because we take it for granted playing, because you guys are a competitive team in SA at the moment. Like, you're playing a lot of tournaments, you guys are performing well. Like EGL, you guys performed well, but playing around item timings and like cooldowns, a lot of teams don't do that. Like, and for up and coming teams, if Tarantas use the Ravage, like Shazo is saying here, like, you ping that clock and for the next 2 minutes they don't have that ability, and you go and you play some Dota.
Yeah.
Right. Go ahead. The floor's yours.
It's just you have to play a lot of Dota. Have to learn all that things.
I want to
to
ask something. Is there
play.
any so you guys are, I wouldn't say new kids on the block, but obviously, like, from an interview perspective, actually getting to speak to you, that's a new experience. What is the next steps for your team? Like, what do you guys think is the next? We spoke about stepping stones earlier in the tournament. Like, what do you think is your next stepping stone? What is your aim for, let's say, the next 6 months of the year?
Obviously, the next VS leg, we are gonna try and enter there, beat Duck in VS. I think that's personally that's my goal.
So
Duck
Duck
in
is the
VS.
next stepping stone. Is that
Yeah,
what you're
yeah.
saying?
Duck is
Like,
Duck is
Duck
the
is-
next-
so they are kind of like your gatekeepers to the
Yeah.
to the higher ups. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. First it was Hayes, but we beat Hayes. Now it's Duck.
Okay.
I mean, it really does. It's such a surprise thing, because once again, you consider the fact that there's still people like Team Pingu that are almost now like reset a little bit by the performances of these things. When you look at it and go, look, you cannot take one team beating another and mean that means for certain that one side will beat, the side that beats one team will lose to the team that is also beaten by that same team. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't quite work that convoluted, complicated way. Just
repeat that
follow
for us,
along,
Devin.
chat. No,
What was that?
we're not going there anymore. Okay, enough. Stop it, notAhero. Stop it. You're embarrassing me in front of our new friend. Okay. But the point is like, it's really interesting that the space that we've been placed in, because I could believe it. I could totally believe that Frostbyte could beat Duck in the next tournament. So that makes a lot of sense. But we're not quite done with you yet. So I asked the question to Muffin Man number 9. What his thoughts were about the next matchup. He believed that XD are the favorites going into that, and that he would prefer to. I guess he kind of stated that he believed the XD will win. He wants to back Punks, and I guess he would prefer to play against Punks. So you obviously have a 5th place playoff, which is an interesting one, because you're kind of in the money if you win that one. So it's the top 5 receiving actual money from the event. Do you have a team that you prefer to play against between XD and Punks?
Preferred versus XD and Punks as well. I would. We have played XD. They're extremely good. I'd rather not want to
But
mess with them
Punks-
again.
But Punks knocked out XD in one of the previous tournaments, like over the last 2 months.
Yeah, we
So-
played Punks before as well. I'm confident we can beat them.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like
I'd
that, I
love
like
to play Punks. I think we haven't played them in a while, so I want to play them again.
All right.
Okay.
Well, I want to take a moment whilst you're here, so you can say, if you can believe me, if you don't watch the end of these streams, I hate players. I watch the matches. You never watch to hear us talk. You never hear how we feel. Anyways, my nonsense. Sorry, but I do want to point something out. This is a really phenomenal performance from you guys. I mean, you came in as effectively the 12th seed into this particular match. I think there were some like ties with regard to qualifier work, so I'm sure George, the admins, will give me a hard time about it later. But on paper, you came in 12th seed, and you finished in top 6. And I know that that's
It's not
potentially
decided
top
yet.
5.
Yeah.
You could be top 5, So the fact is, I know that you don't feel great about this, and I know that losing is never a great feeling. But at the same time, I want to thank you. I'm not congratulating you in this regard, but thank you for putting on the performance that you did and giving us the upsets that you did and playing the way that you did and entertaining all of us. So, really, thank you.
Thanks. I appreciate it. We tried our best.
Keep
And
at it,
it
guys.
was-
You
it
guys
was
are a
great.
pleasure to watch. Like, just keep going. You
Thanks.
guys, like the Albert said, no, you guys potentially 5th or 6th
Mm.
for this EGL tournament, and that I know it's a bit sour at the moment because of the performance tonight, but that alone is an achievement, and don't take that away from your guys.
Thanks.
All right. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, I do want to also say Frostbyte have something that Duck don't. You can follow them on Twitter, so go show them some love. If you've learned to love them like we have, go give them some love on Twitter as well, and show them how much you care. Of course, once again, it's also not done for them just yet. But for this evening, it is in fact done for us. We're going to call it here. Thank you so much for tuning in, notAhero, and of course our latest addition to the panel, Shazo. Thank you so much for joining us, and to the rest of you, have a lovely night further, and be nice to each other in your next pub. Make that your goal for the evening, and hopefully we'll see you there. But for now, I'll call it a night. Bye.